Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. 1 skill point per second, I turn the fireball into a forbidden spell. Chapter 21. Old Chi, what do you think is going on? The red-armored sturdy man Chen Feng turned his head to look at the green-robed old man beside him. The old man's eyes were deep at this moment. 7th level. Wind magic, Jingtao Qianyan Po. Well, that's not right. According to the current concentration of wind elements, the caster should have released more than one 7th level magic. Qi Guogong, Vice President of the Tianai Professional Alliance. A true 7th level strongman. And like Lin Yi, he is also a magician. As the saying goes, laymen watch the excitement, while experts watch the doorway. As soon as he entered the territory of the Dead Land, Qi Guogong noticed the strong residual breath of magic here. He even directly speculated that someone had cast 3 7th level wind spells here in a row. No, there are also residual magic fluctuations of the fire element. It's Sky Flame Dragon Breath. The next moment, Qi Guogong's eyes widened slightly. He felt the fluctuations of another element. And the fluctuation level is also 7th level, that is to say, before those 3 wind-type 7th level magics. There was also a trace of a 7th level fire-type magic bombardment. Qi Guogong's eyes were filled with a layer of green light. He took out a staff with a precious emerald green magic crystal on the top from his personal space. The next moment, he waved the staff. Disperse. A word came out from his lips. The next moment, the strong wind that enveloped the entire Dead Land stopped instantly. The heavy clouds in the sky also gradually dissipated. The skylight sprinkled down. Chen Feng on the side was stunned. This method of waving to disperse the storm is very showy. The wizard is so cool. Even though Chen Feng is much younger than Qi Guogong, he still envies this method of calling the wind and rain, which is like a divine skill. In comparison, his warrior profession skills are much simpler and cruder. This is why most people call warriors Zan Diao. The reason why the mage profession is called a wizard. Because mages are really cool. For Qi Guogong, dispelling the storm is not a difficult task. Because it's a coincidence, he is a mage who specializes in wind magic. His current skill point is wind magic. Moreover, his systematic research on the magic power fluctuation and magic power composition is much deeper than Lin Yi, who only knows how to cast high-level magic instantly but doesn't know the principles of magic. The clouds dispersed and the storm stopped. However, the scene on the surface of the Dead Land still made Chen Feng gasp. The surface of the entire Dead Land was cut off by a violent wind, and 1 or 2 meters of the ground layer was cut off. On the exposed ground, there were countless dense and chaotic deep gullies. These gullies looked like they were chopped by some extremely sharp swords. However, this kind of large-scale distribution and no trace of regular knife movement could never be the traces chopped by a warrior-turned-swordsman profession. Those were violent wind blades that plowed deeply into the ground, leaving traces. In addition, Chen Feng also saw a charred area that was about 10 kilometers wide and hundreds of kilometers long. He didn't dare to imagine what had happened here before. Old Chi, there seems to be someone else down there. The eyesight of the 6th turn professional is excellent. Even in the sky, Chen Feng also keenly saw that there were groups of professionals lying on the ground in a mess. The light blue magic light flashed, and the next moment, Qi Guogong's figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. Chen Feng was stunned. He saw his figure appear next to the group of professionals on the ground. Mage's general skill, flash. Chen Feng was speechless again. There are so many useful invisible skills of the magician. Envy. He could only stimulate the fighting spirit in his body and flew down quickly. Chen Feng landed next to a professional, stretched out a finger, and probed his breath. He said with surprise, "This person is still alive. How did he survive?" Chen Feng was somewhat amazed at the tenacity of this professional's vitality. According to Qi Guogong's previous analysis, 3 7th level wind magic, 1 7th level fire magic. Even the entire leveling area has become like this. This person is still alive, it's really outrageous. Qi Guogong's face showed shock, and he slowly said, "Not only this one is alive, everyone lying here is alive, but they just fainted." Chen Feng was shocked. "Ah, all alive. Ah, old Qi, how did they survive after 4 7th level magics?" Qi Guogong's eyes also showed a strong curiosity and amazement. Extremely terrifying magic control. Chen Feng heard this. A little confused. Qi Guogong continued to explain. I am now releasing a 7th level wind magic, and I can also ensure that these professionals will not die or even get hurt. But the person who came here before and dealt with the Dead Knight, his attainments in fire magic are also comparable to mine, and his control is not inferior to the wind magic. He is at least a 7th level holy magician who has practiced dual cultivation. Qi Guogong finished speaking. He fell into deep thought. He was obviously searching in his brain, who in the whole of Daxia was practicing both fire and wind, and who had reached the 7th level or above. Such people, undoubtedly, are few and far between in the whole of Daxia. However, he did not match any candidate who met this requirement. Well, is his network not wide enough? Maybe he should go back to the Pantheon and ask a few deacons. Maybe this person is a deacon in the Pantheon. Qi Guogong was actually a little envious. Although he was a wind-type holy mage, the kind that everyone admired. But he could only pursue the ultimate in wind magic in his life. He admired and envied those who could practice both. There was no doubt that practicing both required much more effort than specializing in one system. Qi Guogong closed his eyes. He silently felt the residual magic fluctuations from Lin Yi's 4 spells. Soon, he extracted the magic imprint like peeling off the cocoon. The so-called magic imprint is something like everyone's autograph. Everyone has their own unique characteristics and details when casting magic. These details and characteristics combined together are a person's magic imprint. By comparing the magic imprint, it is easier to locate the mage himself. Qi Guogong remembered this special magic imprint in his heart, then opened his eyes and said, "Let's go to Kanglan first and tell them the situation here. You can also report to the task." Chen Feng nodded. In fact, it was he who was ordered to take charge today. Qi Guogong had a close relationship with his father. His father was not very confident that he came alone, so he asked the 7th turn holy magic guide for assistance. The two of them did not care about these professionals anymore. Since these people were not dead, they should all wake up in a while. If there is to be an aftermath, it must be Kanglan City itself. They are just here to deal with the crisis. Now that the crisis has been inexplicably resolved by others, they just need to go through the motions to show that they are indeed here. Kanglan City, outside the city gate. Lin Yi found a hidden location and landed. All base cities in Daxia, unless special permission is granted. Otherwise, it is all forbidden. He was really too anxious before and took off directly from Wuhu in front of so many people. Now he wants to enter the city and return to Zhongcheng through the teleportation array. Naturally, I don't want to cause trouble. Lin Yi just landed. I saw 2 streams of light, one red and one green, appearing in the sky. Flying into the blue city at extremely fast speed. Lin Yi, gone. Why do they dare to fly like this? On the sky, Qi Guogong seemed to sense something. I accidentally glanced down. Magic power flowed in his eyes, and he soon saw Lin Yi hiding under the city gate. Why does this person give him an extremely familiar feeling? But for a moment, I just didn't think of it. Soon, Qi Guogong was slightly shocked. He remembered. The ordinary, somewhat handsome young man below him exuded a faint wave of magic power. It was actually 70–80% similar to the magic brand he sensed at the scene of the previous incident in the Land of Death. Qi Guogong slowed down his flight speed. Out of curiosity, he used an identification technique on the young man below. Soon Lin Yi's occupation and level were displayed in front of him. Qi Guogong shook his head. It seems that I am overthinking it. At level 30, there is not even a 2nd level professional, even though he is a mage. But it is absolutely impossible to use a 7th level spell. At that moment, Qi Guogong accelerated and flew away again without looking at Lin Yi. The strength gap between Lin Yi and Qi Guogong is still too big. This is entirely due to the suppression of levels and attributes. So even though Qi Guogong had already used identification skills on him, Lin Yi didn't notice it. Kanglan City Professionals Alliance Conference Hall. Flop, flop. It was the sound of knees hitting the floor. Chen Feng and Qi Guogong didn't know what to say when they saw a large group of Kanglan City executives kneeling in front of them and still expressing their gratitude. President Hu, what are you doing? After all, Chen Feng was the one who was actually sent to deal with the crisis in this incident. He quickly helped Hu Weijun, the president of Canlan City Professionals Association. Hu Weijun was the one who cursed his deputy after the alienated undead knight appeared before, and immediately notified the people to evacuate and put the whole city on alert. I don't know how to thank you too. I can only kowtow to you on behalf of millions of our blue people. After saying that, Hu Weijun really wanted to continue kowtow. To be honest, the gratitude in his heart at this moment was real. The ecstasy of surviving the disaster is even more real. Because this incident was resolved quickly in such a short period of time, causing no casualties or economic losses. And his handling and response is textbook level. If nothing else, when these two big guys return to Tianai, his performance will probably be praised. President Hu, you must all have misunderstood. Well, Mr. Qi and I didn't stop at all and came as quickly as possible to support him. But by the time we got to the scene, it was over. The alienated undead knight world boss was killed by an unknown master. Qi Guogong remained silent, but his status is higher than Chen Feng, a fact that can be seen at a glance by the senior officials of Kanglan City present. Qi Guogong didn't speak at this moment, which further proved that he also acquiesced that what Chen Feng said was the truth. The main reason why Chen Feng explained the situation truthfully was that at his level, he no longer valued such so-called trivial achievements. What's more, there is Qi Guogong, a real boss, standing next to him. If he takes the credit forcibly on himself, Qi Guogong probably won't expose him even if it's because of his father's face. But invisibly, it can be regarded as owing a favor. In their class, favor is the most difficult debt to repay. After Hu Weijun and the senior officials of Kanglan City thought about it for a while, the CPU was completely burned out. Ah, so it turns out you weren't the one who killed the boss. So who killed it? How could Kanglan have such an awesome boss? The other side. Lin Yi showed his student ID card and entered Kanglan City again. As soon as he entered the city, Lin Yi heard the alarm announcement playing over the loudspeaker. At the same time, countless military professionals wearing battle armor were also smiling. As for the pedestrians on the street, their eyes were full of tears and they hugged each other and cried. No one thought that for some reason, the alarm in Kanglan City, which was about to be hit by heavy rain and disaster, was instantly lifted, and they no longer had to be evacuated from the city. Many professionals who have not been able to see their wives and children because they were in a hurry, see their families again, and feel like they are surviving a disaster. It is the greatest happiness in this life. Lin Yi looked a little confused. What happened? In less than half an hour, why did the entire blue atmosphere change from peaceful to this? But this did not prevent him from going straight to the teleportation hall in Kanglan City. Lin Yi took out his mobile phone. This time he learned a lesson and bought a ticket for the first-class teleportation hall. The mission is done, it's time to return to Zhongcheng to hand in the mission. Actually, Lin Yi wanted to complete the job transfer directly in Kanglan City, but when he passed by the job transfer sanctuary, he found that the job transfer sanctuary seemed to have been used as some kind of air defense shelter. It was full of ordinary people and a large number of professionals. It was noisy, and it must take some time for normal functions to be restored. Lin Yi walked into the distinguished first-class teleportation hall, and the teleportation array lit up. Then his figure disappeared. This time the teleportation experience was smooth. The surrounding scenery was still bizarre, but the fierce and exciting rotation feeling was much reduced. This was the reason why the other people who teleported away with Lin Yi did not react strongly. It would not be like before, when the air was filled with the smell of vomit. In less than half a minute, Lin Yi felt his feet stepping on solid ground again. The surrounding scenery changed. He returned to the familiar Zhongcheng teleportation hall again. After walking out of the teleportation hall, Lin Yi went straight to the job transfer sanctuary. Li Yi yawned, took off the glasses on the bridge of her nose and rubbed her sore eyes. She glanced at the wall clock in the hall. It was already 11:30 in the morning. There was still half an hour before she could get off work. Today, she not only met a handsome guy, chatted with him for a few words, but also caught fish for the whole morning. This class was worth it. Thinking like this, Li Yi put on her glasses, but saw that handsome face appear in front of her again. All hand in the task, Lin Yi said simply. Li Yi was dumbfounded. What the hell, handsome guy, we should have met an hour and a half ago, right? How did it happen so quickly? Okay, please follow me. Soon, Li Yi led Lin Yi into a room where the job transfer crystal was placed. Lin Yi came to the crystal and touched it with both hands. Then a prompt came from his mind. Ding! It was detected that you have a completed job transfer task. Do you want to submit it? Lin Yi chooses to submit. The next moment, a circle of magic circles lights up under Lin Yi's feet, and at the same time, a white light flashes. Congratulations, your job change is successful. You have advanced to Intermediate Mage, second job change. You have acquired new skills, Frost Arrow, Mana Shield. Your spiritual attribute value and attribute point addition benefits have increased. Lin Yi's job transfer is plain and unpretentious, without any special features. That is, the fixed attribute point increase obtained each time he upgrades has been increased from 1 point to 2 points. And the effect of increasing his spiritual attribute points on magic damage and mana recovery is stronger than the first transfer. Although he knew that he would get a new active skill and a new passive skill in the second transfer. But the two skills he unlocked were obviously very ordinary. He got Fireball in the first transfer, and Frostbolt in the second transfer. Fire and Ice are the most common specializations in the profession of mage in the entire Blue Star. Because most people get the corresponding skills in the first and second transfers. In the environment where skills are so difficult to obtain. Naturally, most people have no choice but to become fire mages or ice mages. Then the skill points are invested, and it will be even more difficult to switch to other systems later. However, Lin Yi does not dislike the two skills of Frostbolt and Mana Shield. Because any skill, as long as it is a skill, in his hands, it will become extremely valuable. After the job transfer is successful, Lin Yi opened his personal panel and allocated all the attribute points he got after upgrading to the spiritual attribute. Level 7 magic is a big mana burner. Not to mention the subsequent level 8 and even forbidden spells. It is foreseeable that after his passive skill Divine Grace Chant, which speeds up the reading bar, is upgraded to level 9, he will definitely be able to cast forbidden spells instantly. By then, Lin Yi does not want to become a crappy mage who has no mana to cast spells after the free casting effect given by Mana Storm disappears. After adding points, Lin Yi's panel has undergone a qualitative change compared to 2 days ago. Lin Yi. Profession: Intermediate Mage, second transfer. Specialization: Fire primary, Storm primary, Ice secondary. Level: LV.39, 4.30%. Health: 410 410. Mana: 39,620 39,620. Strength: 41. Agility: 41. Spirit: 566. Constitution: 41. Endurance: 41. Talent: Gift of the Gods SSS. Allocated attribute points: 0. Allocated skill points: 312,685. General skills: Eye of All Seeing. Professional passive skills: Mana Storm passive, Divine Grace Chant passive, Mana Shield passive. Professional active skills: Fire 1 7th level spells, Storm 1 7th level spells, Ice 1st level spells. After completing the job transfer, Lin Yi leveled up 9 levels in a row, including the huge amount of experience given by the alienated Death Knight and the experience he gained by killing a large number of undead soldiers in 1 second. After the level limit was lifted, these experiences were not lost. Lin Yi's total mana increased from the 3,000 or 4,000 points that he had barely reached after taking the alchemical potion. It surged to nearly 40,000 points. Now, even if he does not rely on the free casting of Mana Storm, Lin Yi can cast 3 or 4 7th level spells with his own mana. Lin Yi looked at his skill point balance for the 2 newly acquired professional skills. He was just a little short of leveling both skills to the 7th level. But Lin Yi was not in a hurry. His harvest this time was much richer than in the Howling Forest. After all, the level of the transformed Death Knight was there, and the things dropped could definitely be sold at a good price. Thinking of this, Lin Yi walked out of the job transfer sanctuary. Then he went back home. It was noon at this moment. There were 3 or 4 dishes that Lin Yi liked on the table at home, and a note left by his mother. If the dishes are cold, put them in the microwave to heat them up yourself. Your class teacher came to you in the morning and said there was something urgent, which was related to your future. Remember to ask what it was. Lin Yi's father, Lin Guodong, worked in the mine. He could not be said to get up early and work late, but he basically worked 7 or 8 hours in the mine every time. Because it was too troublesome to go up and down the mine, frequent entry and exit would delay a lot of time. And his mother, Xu Qingfeng, was a teacher. Of course, she was not a professional, and the courses she taught were just ordinary cultural courses. Lin Yi had long been accustomed to the life that his parents did not go home at noon and could only get together at night. After eating, Lin Yi returned to his room. He took out all the things that the Death Knight Rivendell dropped from his portable space. First, there were more than a dozen pieces of equipment. Unfortunately, none of these equipment could be used by mages. Lin Yi looked at the grade, and found that 8 or 9 of them were silver grade, 3 were gold grade. And the last one was platinum grade. It happened to be the black sword that Rivendell had held before. Dead Rune Greatsword. Type: weapon, two-handed. Grade: platinum. Equipment level: LV.60. Equipable occupations: warrior, knight class transfer. Weight: 29.3 kilograms. Physical attack power plus 845. Strength plus 97. Endurance plus 88. Durability: 100/100. Special effect: plague corruption. When hitting the target, there is a 10% chance that the target will be infected by the plague, and receive 200 points of dark attribute damage per second for 30 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times. Lin Yi has never seen other level 60 equipment and weapons, so he naturally doesn't know whether the attributes of this two-handed sword are good. But he knew that the value of weapons with special effects would not be low. However, this is what bothers Lin Yi the most. Because including the other 3 pieces of gold-level equipment, there was no way he could take action now. This Blue Star world after time travel. Daxia's equipment control for all professionals can be said to be extremely strict. Daxia officials strictly prohibit equipment above silver level from entering the private professional market. Once discovered, the source will be traced. This is actually the same logic as the ban on guns in Daxia in the previous life on Earth. Equipment is the easiest external means for ordinary people, or people with ulterior motives, to improve their own strength. A person with a very low level and low skill points. If you collect a good set of equipment for him, he can also cause great damage. Therefore, except for special organizations such as official high-level officials and military professionals stationed in base cities, other professionals are already violating the law simply by holding silver level or above equipment. Once discovered, severe punishment will be imposed. Of course, this does not mean that if a professional obtains these high-grade equipment, it will rot in his hands. Officials have opened special recycling channels. The good equipment you get will be recycled by Daxia officials at a high price. It's a really high price, the kind that guarantees your satisfaction. Therefore, most professionals have no complaints. However, the reason why Lin Yi was unable to get rid of these equipment was that with his current level and paper strength, he could not explain to the officials how these equipment came from. If he got it by himself, then he would have to explain more things. Lin Yi is very afraid of trouble. Therefore, Lin Yi planned to store these equipment in the portable space first, and wait until his strength was strong enough to be exposed on paper later. If these things are used at that time, the official personnel will not question them carefully at all. Lin Yi took the 3 pieces of gold equipment and the platinum necromancy sword back into space, and then took out 2 skill scrolls. This is the most precious treasure. The attributes of the 2 skill books soon appeared in front of Lin Yi. The first is a skill book with flashes of blue light. Skill book: Explosive Arrow. Type: Skill book Classic. Occupation: Archer. Learnable level: LV.30. Level 2. Effect: after use, there is a 70% probability that you will learn the skill, Exploding Arrow. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Archer skill books are not cheap either. And this is a 2nd level skill book. The value is estimated to be several times higher than the Windblade skill book he dropped when he killed the Tiger King. But Lin Yi only knew that. It turns out that in addition to basic skill books that can directly learn higher level skills have a probability of being acquired. It's not 100% learned. He seemed to finally be able to understand the hardships faced by ordinary professionals. Maybe someone has worked hard and saved money for several years to buy an advanced skills book. In the end, learning failed. That would really make your mentality explode. Fortunately, Lin Yi doesn't have such troubles at all. Moreover, he only needs to find and buy basic skill books. Lin Yi turned his attention to another skill book with a black cover and a deathly air. Soon the detailed information emerged, making Lin Yi instantly excited. Skill book. Summon, Skeleton Soldier. Type, Skill book Classic. Occupations. Necromancer, Summoner, Dark Priest needs to break through the magic crystal, Mage needs to break through the magic crystal. Learnable level. LV.5. Level. Level 1. Effect. After use, you will learn the skill, Summon, Skeleton Soldier. My luck really exploded this time. The skill book of the necromantic system. And the professions that can be learned include mage. Necromantic skills are extremely rare among all mage specializations. It should be second only to the gravity system. The necromancy spells take into account the extremely advantageous qualities of summoning objects and soul attacks. Spells that can directly attack the enemy's soul can sometimes produce extremely exaggerated effects, making it easy for the weak to defeat the strong. Lin Yi chose to use it. However, a cold reminder came. Learning failed. Your profession is not the orthodox profession to which this skill belongs. If you want to learn it, you need to consume additional materials. Breakthrough magic crystal. Gone. Can't learn. What the hell is this breakthrough magic crystal? Lin Yi searched his mind and couldn't find any relevant information in his memory. However, Lin Yi had learned the concepts of orthodox professions and side professions. To put it simply, after the blue star mutation, the various professions are not completely parallel lines that will never intersect. There will occasionally be connections between them. Take the mage professional skills as an example. The 6th level Molten Balrog is a skill that both flame specialized mages and summoners can learn. But for fire magic, this skill can be learned after upgrading. Fire magic is the orthodox professional system of this skill. As for the summoner, you need the corresponding skill book to learn it. Summoner is a branch of this skill. In addition, the 6th level Wind Flash can also be learned by other professions such as swordsmen, samurai, and ninjas. But now it seems that if you want to unlock the skills of the side profession system, you need to consume not only skill books, but also this material called Breakthrough Magic Crystal. Forget it, there's no need to rush. Even if I have learned necromancy skills now, I still don't have enough skill points to reach a high level. You must know that there are still ice skills and mana shields, key passive skills that provide survivability, waiting to be fed. If you want to add them, you must first add these 2 skills to high levels. Lin Yi took out a black card from his pocket. And a business card. Manager of Zhenbao's Zhongcheng Base City General Store, Zhang Dafu, contact information, XXX. Well, it's time to sell goods, sell stolen goods, and add some one-stop service. More than half an hour later. In the VIP reception room of Zhongcheng Zhenbao Pavilion. Please have a seat, please have a seat. He, little brother Lin is here, and the shop is full of glory. I wonder if little brother has had any adventures recently. Is there anything you want to sell? Lin Yi sat on the sofa. Zhang Dafu served Lin Yi a cup of good hot tea, his smiling face turning into chrysanthemums. Lin Yi's first impression of Zhang Dafu was his big belly and oily head. He is the most standard businessman. Everything depends on money. This is not pure. Lin Yi does not dislike Zhang Dafu. And showed sincerity on the spot. From his portable space, he took out 4 or 5 rare materials dropped by the boss necromancer Knight Rivendell. These materials were carefully selected by Lin Yi. It is a completely random drop in the wild, and it is impossible to trace the source of the material to which monster dropped it. This way, no one will be suspicious, and no one will follow the clues to find out his past. As Lin Yi placed these rare materials on the table one by one, Lin Yi could see Zhang Dafu's plump face trembling slightly. Obviously these things are very rare. Moreover, Lin Yi also did his homework in advance and basically understood the price of these materials in the trading house. Brother Lin, let me call you brother. All of these are for sale. Lin Yi nodded. The next moment, Zhang Dafu took out a handful of silver abacus cards from nowhere, and his fat fingers kept moving the abacus beads with extremely fast and delicate gestures, making crackling sounds. Lin Yi thought he had to wait for a while. Unexpectedly, it took less than 5 seconds. The result came. Brother, I can offer 440,000 Daxia coins for these materials, and I will buy them all. And to be honest, I can make a list of each material here for you, with the unit price marked, and you will definitely not lose money. Ah, 440,000 is not auspicious, I will increase it to 450,000. When Lin Yi heard this offer, he nodded secretly in his heart. The unit price of all the materials he checked in the trading house before multiplied by the quantity, and the final number he got was 390,000. Coming to Zhang Dafu, he got 60,000 more out of thin air. That's enough. Okay. Also, boss, do you accept equipment? Zhang Dafu's face trembled again. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Brother, what are you doing? Lin Yi certainly knew what he meant. And judging from his expression, he was probably testing him. Maybe when he really said that he had silver-level equipment to sell, he would really take the order. However, Lin Yi would not be stupid enough to take such a risk. Don't worry, they are all silver-level equipment. I'm too lazy to go to the trading house again. Let's see if you will accept it. If not, I will find another one. Hearing this, Zhang Dafu hurriedly replied, accept. We will accept everything. That is, if the silver-level equipment you sell is not of high level, the price I offer you here will not be much higher than the market price. Some of them will even be at par. After all, our official control of this thing is also strict, and the recycling price is also high. Lin Yi nodded. It doesn't matter. Then, Lin Yi took out the 6 silver equipment dropped by the previous boss, which he had also selected. Although these equipments are only silver grade, their levels are generally between 40 and 60, so Lin Yi earned another 10 W. Just when Zhang Dafu thought that today's transaction would end here, Lin Yi dropped another bombshell. Boss, are you selling the breakthrough magic crystal? Zhang Dafu was stunned. Then he glanced at Lin Yi suspiciously. That expression said, no, brother, why are you still testing me? Do I want to sell it or not? But Lin Yi didn't say anything further. Zhang Dafu said after a long time, brother, please stop making fun of me. If I sell this thing, I will really go to jail. This really doesn't happen. Lin Yi was a little confused. But he picked up something from Zhang Dafu's words. That is, the breakthrough magic crystal seems to be strictly controlled by the state, just like gold level and above equipment. Lin Yi had nothing to be embarrassed about. He was originally here to inquire about the information about the breakthrough magic crystal. He bluntly said that he had no idea what the breakthrough magic crystal was and what channels he could use to obtain it. Upon hearing this, Zhang Dafu pondered for a moment. Obviously, he was wondering whether this kind of information could be considered a type of paid product. However, considering that the things Lin Yi sold to him today could make a lot of money after resale, he said calmly, brother, this is actually not a secret, I will tell you for free. There is only one way to obtain the breakthrough magic crystal, and that is to mine it from our Daxia state-owned magic crystal mine. And a series of technologies such as purification and processing are all officially controlled by the state. It is strictly prohibited for private individuals or organizations to purchase, process, and sell it privately. This thing is also very versatile. It plays a key role in strengthening the skills of all professionals and unlocking side skill trees. If you want to obtain it through formal channels, you can join a professional alliance or a large guild with an official background, and use merit points or guild contributions to redeem them. Of course, brother, I see that you are so young and you must have just changed jobs. For you, there is another more convenient way to obtain the breakthrough magic crystal. Some of our well-known professional colleges in Great Sha also have corresponding breakthrough magic crystal resources. If you are admitted, you should have a way to obtain them. By the way, I heard that our province will also give rewards to those candidates who perform well in the National College Entrance Examination, and it seems that there are also breakthrough magic crystals among them. Lin Yi finally understood. All resources that have a particularly huge impact on the combat power of professionals. In Daxia, the distribution has basically been completed. If you want to get it, you can only get it through officially designated channels. Lin Yi thanked Zhang Dafu and left Zhenbao Pavilion. In the space he carries at the moment, there is actually an archer's explosive arrow skill book and 100 tradable skill points worth for sale. But Lin Yi didn't plan to take out so many things at once. Instead, we should take action in batches. The logic is still the same, which is to try not to attract too much attention from others. Now that he has made another huge sum of money, Lin Yi of course plans to spend money to buy idle skill point rewards. But this time Lin Yi did not go home, but was going to school. After awakening to the profession, there have been no classes in school. Lin Yi's mother left him a note before, saying that the head teacher wanted to see him for something, and Lin Yi planned to go and see what it was about. In addition, Zhang Dafu said before that if you achieve excellent rankings in the National College Entrance Examination, you will be able to receive the Breakthrough Magic Crystal as an official reward. Lin Yi was obviously moved, since this resource is crucial for you to continue to become stronger. Then Lin Yi had not paid much attention to the professional college entrance examination and the search for a strong professional higher education institution, which had to be put on the agenda. As Lin Yi walked towards Zhongcheng No. 2 Middle School, he activated the new function of his talent gift of the gods. Would you like to spend 50,000 Daxia coins to purchase 24 hours of skill point rewards? Lin Yi chose yes without hesitation. It's just that this time he wasn't as crazy and mindless as he was last time. Instead, start calculating how much money you have left. After purchasing skill points 6 times in a row, Lin Yi stopped buying. At this time, if you want to get the 24-hour idle skill point reward, you already need to spend a full 100,000 Daxia coins. Therefore, Lin Yi saved more than 100,000 Daxia coins, which he reserved for emergencies so that he would not be unable to pay for anything he wanted to buy. It's even good to use it to subsidize household expenses. Anyway, if he wants to make some money, he can choose to sell the skill books and skill points. 6 purchases gave Lin Yi more than 500,000 skill points. Count what you saved before. Now Lin Yi has more than 800,000 skill points. Open the skills interface. Lin Yi clicked on the ice skill he had just obtained and started adding points. The goal is still level 7. Lin Yi found that the 7th level spell was enough to deal with most of the situations he encountered so far. Just tile it to level 7, and then if you have extra skill points, choose another skill and add it to level 8. Consume 500 skill points, your ice arrow has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Ice Blast. Consume 2000 skill points, your ice shock has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Frost Confinement. Consume 5000 skill points, your frost confinement has been upgraded, and you have gained a new spell, Blizzard. Consume 10,000 skill points, your blizzard has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Extreme Cold Zone. Consume 50,000 skill points, your extreme cold zone has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Biting Cold. Spend 100,000 skill points, your bone-piercing cold is upgraded, and you get a new spell, Soul Freeze. After getting the 7 ice spells, Lin Yi began to check them one by one. If the fire system is a violent output route, and the wind system is a rapid attack, multiple continuous slash style, then the characteristics of ice skills are also extremely obvious. Control. Extreme Control. Frost arrows will cause a 30% slowdown effect on the target, and it will continue. Then the 3rd level spell Frost Imprisonment can choose a target, lock its feet with ice, and imprison it in place for 5 seconds. In the 5th level Ice Zone, this skill does not even cause damage. But it can reduce the temperature of a large area to dozens of degrees below zero, and all targets within the affected range will suffer a high slowdown effect of 60%. And this effect will continue to stack, and when it stacks to 3 layers, it will immediately turn into a confinement effect. See the 6th level and 7th level ice skills. Lin Yi found a pattern. It seems that all the specializations of mages will do something different when they reach the 6th level. Fire is a summon, and wind is a supersonic slash. The 6th level ice spell is actually a passive skill. Bone-piercing cold. Type. Passive skill. Level. 6th level. Class. Ice. Consumption. None. Channel time. None. Cooling time. None. Effect. All targets affected by your slowing, imprisoning, and freezing effects will become vulnerable, and all damage received will be increased by 20%, and their dodge chance will be further reduced depending on the restriction effects you have imposed on the target. Slowing effect. Reduce the target's dodge chance by 30%. Imprisonment effect. Reduce the target's dodge chance by 60%. Freezing effect. Reduce the target's dodge chance by 100%, and when you use a fire skill to break its freezing effect, it will cause an additional 20% of its maximum health and ice damage. Note: the effect of reducing the maximum health value will be reduced for high-level and high-ranking monsters, and the maximum reduction is 1%. Note: deep cold, piercing into the bone marrow. Percent vulnerability plus percentage damage. This mechanism is somewhat special and powerful. Although it requires a fire-type icebreaker to trigger, it is actually not difficult for other mages to trigger. Because even an ice mage only needs to learn a basic fireball technique to break the ice. Directly inflicting maximum health damage on monsters with extremely high health but no freezing resistance, the killing speed will be extremely fast. It will even be much faster than flooding the damage with fire spells. Then the 7th level ice spell. It is also very different from the fire and wind types. The 7th level spells of the fire and wind systems have a large range and strong effects. But this 7th level ice spell is actually a single target spell. Soul Freeze. Type: Active Skills. Level 7. Department: Ice System. Consumption: 28,000 mana. Singing time: 15 seconds. Cooling time: 30 minutes. Effect: Guide the terrifying cold air, seal the target's soul in 10,000 years of ice, make it unable to move, unable to use skills, and clear all buffs on the target, lasting indefinitely. The target sealed in the ice is immune to all damage except fire damage. When affected by fire skills of level 6 or above, the ice will melt and break. Note: the imprisoned soul is locked in the body and will never change forever. Another skill that does no damage. However, the control duration has been extended from limited to unlimited. As long as it is not broken by the flames, it is eternal control. Lin Yi was very satisfied, because he now masters 3 legal specialties. No shortage of damage at all. Instead, it lacks control skills. Now the ice system completely makes up for this. After adding the ice element, Lin Yi looked at the success of his second turn and gained another passive skill. Mana Shield. Type: Passive skill. Level: Beginner. Department: General Department. Effect: when you receive damage, 10% of the damage will be borne by your mana instead. A pretty good survival skill. For mages whose mana volume is much higher than their health volume, this skill can be regarded as a 10% full damage reduction. Lin Yi started to add more points. More than 10 minutes later, this survival skill takes on a whole new look. Immortal Dharmakaya. Type: Passive skill. Level 7. Department: General Department. Effect 1. When you receive damage, 40% of the damage will be borne by your mana instead. Effect 2. When you suffer elemental damage, the corresponding damage reduction will be additionally increased based on your affinity for that element, with a minimum increase of 10% and a maximum increase of 100%. Current elemental damage reduction: Flame, 80%. Ice, 80%. Storm, 80%. Effect 3. When you suffer a fatal injury that will cause your health to return to 0, the damage will be borne entirely by mana. After this effect is triggered, your mana will return to 0 and your health will be reduced to 1 point. This effect can only be triggered once within 30 days, and the current remaining times are 1. So strong. Not only does it have a high damage reduction effect, it even gives Lin Yi a chance to avoid death. This skill gave Lin Yi a sense of security that was immediately maxed out. To be honest, Lin Yi could actually feel a little pressure when facing a boss like the level 200 alienated undead knight before. He is not truly invincible after all, although he has output capabilities that are countless times beyond his job transfer level. But his ability to survive has always been weak. If he hadn't finished chanting before Rivendell swung that undead air-breaking slash, he used Qinlan Po's words. The wind mass of his 5th level Gale Wing alone could not block that blow at all. It might turn over. Now that Lin Yi encounters a similar situation, or a more high-pressure situation, he won't panic anymore. Now not only the survivability has improved, but also the control ability. Even if an enemy that you can't kill appears, it shouldn't be difficult to run away. The 2 new skills for the second turn have been added. Lin Yi has more than 500,000 skill points left. It is completely enough to upgrade one of the 7th level skills to the 8th level. It is indeed time to choose an upgrade. But Lin Yi still plans to think about which one to choose. While thinking like this, Lin Yi had already walked into the gate of Zhongcheng No. 2 Middle School. Walking up to the teaching building, Lin Yi gradually realized that something was wrong. Where are people? Why is there no one? Usually, even if the entire 3rd grade of high school has gone through career awakening, students will still occasionally come back to school to ask the teacher about some questions about leveling or skills. Even school officials will organize activities where teachers lead students to practice leveling. But it's impossible for all the students and teachers to disappear, right? With doubts, Lin Yi went to the staff building, knocked on the door of the principal's office. "Please come in." An old voice came from inside. Lin Yi pushed open the door and entered. The old principal of No. 2 Middle School is named Zhuo Qian. He was also the one who presided over the entire senior high school transfer ceremony. Seeing Lin Yi at this moment, the old principal had a look of surprise in his eyes. "Classmate Lin Yi, you finally got over the shock. I am very relieved. You have always been my favorite student. I really don't want you to fall into depravity." Zhuo Qian looked up and down at Lin Yi. He could feel that the boy in front of him seemed to have become much stronger. He himself is also a mage. There is some kind of invisible telepathy between mages. He could feel that Lin Yi had definitely not wasted the past half-month. This made him feel relieved. Lin Yi did not explain anything, but just asked directly, "Principal Zhuo, I heard that my class teacher came to me for something urgent, and said it was related to my future. What is it?" Zhuo Qian took off his reading glasses, stood up, and then his face became serious. "It is indeed related to your future. Let's talk while walking." After speaking, Zhuo Qian pulled Lin Yi out of the door of his office. Then Lin Yi heard an extremely melodious flute sound, and the next moment, an unknown hoofed beast with messy fur and a bit of a mess appeared. This hoofed beast has deer antlers, but its face is more like a cow, and its 4 hooves are more like a horse. A 4-legged beast protrudes, and there are wings with colorful feathers on both sides of the ribs. The old principal is only a 3rd-level professional, and a 3rd-level professional can learn riding skills and have a riding space. So this is obviously his mount. "Get on, what are you standing there for?" Lin Yi turned over, stepped on the stirrup behind the 4-legged beast, and sat on it. The next moment, under Zhuo Qian's control, the 4-legged beast flapped its wings and flew up panting. Lin Yi, the 4-legged beast panted as if it would die in the next second. Not to mention its flying speed, which is not much different from an electric motorcycle. Ahem, Shalwa is old now. When it was young, it flew very fast. Don't worry about these details, let's talk about business. To make a long story short, this morning, an unknown abyss aura erupted in the leveling area in the eastern suburbs of Zhongcheng, and a limited time trial copy appeared. Only mages can enter this copy. So I asked the teachers of each class to notify all the students in the school who have successfully changed their profession to mages, including you of course. Abyss aura erupts, mage trial. Lin Yi was a little confused. What is this? Zhuo Qian continued to explain. This knowledge does not exist in your textbooks, it is normal that you don't understand it. But you should know what the root cause of the changes in our blue star thousands of years ago was, right? Lin Yi nodded. It was the invasion of the abyss and the overlap of planes. Zhuo Qian. Yes, abyss, this should be a term you often hear. You can understand the abyss as a parallel world, a different dimension. That is the source of all disasters and crises on Blue Star. There are endless terrible monsters there, and they even have their own civilization and their own social system, just like us. But it's a dangerous place, go there. It is also the place with the most opportunities and rewards. Quote, some of the real strong men in Daxia have become strong because they have obtained extremely rare rewards such as key skills, talents, and exclusive equipment after training in the abyss. Quote, the abyss is an all-encompassing terrifying plane. It is like a universe. In its constant operation and movement, it is inevitable that it will be very close to our blue star plane. Quote, at this time, when the two planes conflict with each other, it is easy to create a crack between the two planes. Quote. These cracks are actually the copies you are familiar with. Quote. Lin Yi listened to the old principal's tutoring. It made his eyes light up. He had never thought about how those copies were born before. It turned out that they were born like this. This morning, a limited-time dungeon appeared in the eastern suburbs of Zhongcheng. That dungeon was contaminated with some slight abyss aura, causing the monsters in it to mutate. The spatial structure of this type of dungeon is very unstable. After a period of time, it will disappear. So you must enter as soon as possible to get the reward. And this dungeon that appeared this time is very special. It is a trial dungeon. And it is a single professional trial dungeon. Only mages are allowed to enter. Lin Yi pondered for a moment and asked, then, Principal, if this trial is passed, what are the benefits? Zhuo Qian chuckled. You kid, you really don't see the rabbit before the eagle, but I am the same, haha, we go to the dungeon, aren't we all for rewards? The reward for this trial is a title. This title is called Abyss Challenger. The title has no attributes, but you can understand it as a key, or as a qualification. The qualification to enter the real abyss. Lin Yi understood. From the introduction of the old principle, really valuable equipment, rare skills, rare talents. All need to enter the abyss to obtain. And professionals who cannot pass this kind of professional trial will not be qualified to enter the abyss. There is no doubt that it is equivalent to never becoming a real strong man in your life. No wonder it will affect your future prospects. From the past rules, every time this kind of professional trial copy appears on our blue star, it is different. Before entering the trial, the challenger will be informed of the clearance rules. After reaching the clearance rules, you can get the qualification to enter the abyss. We are very lucky in Zhongcheng. The clearance rules of the mage professional trial that appeared this time are too simple. You just need to persist in the trial copy for 3 hours. You don't need to kill many monsters or boss. So, classmate Lin Yi, seize this opportunity. Because you don't know when you will encounter this kind of professional trial in the future, and it may be more difficult. In fact, the difficulty is not bad for Lin Yi. At least his current strength cannot be said to crush professionals of the same level. It can only be said to be a dimensionality reduction attack. No matter how difficult this trial is, it is not that difficult. Maybe for Lin Yi, the real abyss is a challenge. Lin Yi is most afraid of missing it, not knowing when he will have the chance to participate in the trial next time. While the two were communicating, even though the Sibushang was flying slowly, they left Zhongcheng. You did a good job. When I was a teacher, I also took a few students to fly at high speed. They were all scared. Lin Yi, he had a grudge and didn't know how to spit it out. You call this high-speed flight? Can I say that if I use my own skills to fly, I can surpass your slow mount by more than 10 times? Zhongcheng is almost surrounded by lush and beautiful grasslands. Even the eastern suburbs are the same. The two left the city and flew east for a while. Soon Lin Yi saw a large group of people gathered somewhere in the grassland. The news spreads very quickly. As soon as this mage professional trial dungeon appeared, people from several base cities around Zhongcheng all got wind of it and rushed here at full speed. When I asked your class teacher to find you this morning, there were not many people. Many people in our school who changed their profession to mages went in as a team. They should be inside now. No, it seems a bit difficult now. Zhuo Qian looked at the dense crowd below and his face changed. Lin Yi also found the problem. That is, there were so many people that the entrance to the dungeon could not be seen, and it was obvious that these people were queuing. What's going on? Do you need to queue up to enter the dungeon? The four-legged beast landed, and Zhuo Qian took back his mount. With the connections he had accumulated over the years, he brought Lin Yi and revealed his identity to all the Zhongcheng military professionals who were maintaining order at the scene. Perhaps because of their favoritism towards their own family, these soldiers turned a blind eye to Zhuo Qian and Lin Yi's behavior of cutting in line and moving forward, and did not stop them. Soon, Zhuo Qian and Lin Yi came to the central area surrounded by the crowd. Lin Yi also saw a space crack emitting a gloomy and dark atmosphere, which was constantly flashing. Obviously, this is the entrance to this limited time trial copy. On both sides of the entrance, there are many professionals and array masters wearing robes, who are maintaining the stability of the copy entrance and trying to extend the opening time of this copy. President Zhang, I am Xiao Zhuo. Zhuo Qian put on a humble and flattering expression, and saw Zhang Xian, the president of the Zhongcheng Professional Alliance, in the middle of the crowd. Zhang Xian was smiling at the moment. So many schools, idol organizations and guild members from other base cities came to their Zhongcheng, which made him proud. At this moment, a group of people wearing the uniforms of a certain professional college, with a strong aura and basically above the 4th level, were talking to Zhang Xian about something. Zhuo Qian had no choice but to shout for Lin Yi. But his attitude was extremely respectful. Zhang Xian was a little unhappy that his chat with an important guest was interrupted. But now it was a public place after all, so he couldn't get angry. He could only look back. Zhuo Qian smiled and said, "President Zhang, this is it. There is a student in our school who has successfully changed his profession to a mage, but he has not been able to participate in this trial. Now there are so many people, what do you think? Lin Yi, come here, this is the president of our Zhongcheng Professional Alliance, Zhang Xian, a 4th-level great magician." Before Lin Yi could speak, Zhang Xian was surprised and said, "Are you Lin Yi?" Lin Yi was stunned. "You know me?" Zhang Xian looked at Lin Yi with interest. "I've never met you, but my ears almost get calluses when I hear your name. My little granddaughter never mentioned you less. Even this morning, she asked me to wait for you to come and arrange this trial for you." Zhuo Qian's eyes lit up when he heard this. "I didn't expect Mr. Zhang to know Lin Yi. This will be easier to handle." Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. "The old man in front of me is also named Zhang." Coupled with what he said, it is not difficult to guess that Zhang Xian should be Zhang Ya's grandfather. "President Zhang, it's not good for you to open the back door to your acquaintance so blatantly, isn't it?" A somewhat cold voice came from behind Zhang Xian. It was a young man wearing a suit and gold-rimmed glasses with a somewhat cold temperament. Another person standing next to him also chuckled and said, "And with all due respect, we are not looking down on your educational level in Zhongcheng, but there should be very few freshmen of your generation who can pass this trial. Take the position and go to die. Why don't you make way for us freshmen from Tianshui Academy? We came all the way here and don't want to wait too long." Zhang Xian heard this. His face also became ugly. He was always polite and treated the group of people who came all the way from Tianshui with the concept of being a guest, just to allow their freshman mage profession to participate in this trial copy. Lin Yi frowned slightly. He didn't like the way these people were arrogant and looking at people through their nostrils. Indeed, almost all of these people from Tianshui Academy are at rank 2 or above, and a very few have even reached rank 3. But it's not that strong. What to pretend? Just in the middle of a conversation between a few people, suddenly there was an exclamation from the door of the dungeon. Following the sound, Lin Yi saw that Zhang Ya was a little pale, being supported by a professional on the side, walking in despair. Zhang Xian's expression changed and he stepped forward quickly. Even judging by past experience, the difficulty of this mage professional trial is not high. But there are always risks. Could it be that customs clearance failed? "Xiaoya, you." Zhang Ya obviously suffered a huge fright. Her whole body was shaking slightly, and her complexion was frighteningly white. Seeing her grandfather, Zhang Ya's eyes turned red and tears fell down instantly. "Grandpa, second uncle, woo-woo." Zhang Xian's expression turned completely gloomy. He also discovered that there were only 3 people coming back with his granddaughter this time. There is another person missing. He is Zhang Ya's second uncle and Zhang Xian's second son. What's going on? Xiaoya, don't cry first, calm down and talk to Grandpa. Zhang Ya couldn't stop trembling all over. There are too many monsters. We can't kill them all, and as long as we stay in one place, monsters will keep coming. There is almost no place to hide in the entire space. In the end, it was the second uncle who gave us the last 4 copy escape scrolls, and then attracted the firepower of those monsters, and we escaped. Second uncle, Boo. When Zhang Xian and Zhuo Qian heard this, they both felt cold all over. You must know that this trial copy is only allowed for mage professionals to enter. If it is true as Zhang Ya said, the monsters inside will search for their traces and attack them constantly. There is no tank class that can resist monsters, and there is no priest healing class. The 5 mages, even if they were all rank 2 or even rank 3 except Zhang Ya, could not withstand such a high-pressure environment. From this point of view, their initial prediction that this would be a trial dungeon with only a D-level difficulty was completely wrong. Now it seems that it is probably at least a level difficulty. Help! There are wounded here. Is there any healing profession? Please help. She is dying, please save her. At this moment, people are constantly teleporting out of the dungeon entrance. Wails, cries, and cries for help came and went. Countless injured people were covered in blood and flesh, some had their abdomens cut open by the claws of unknown creatures, and some had their legs simply bitten off. The scene was extremely bloody. These should be the first batch of people to enter the trial copy like Zhang Ya. In an instant, it was extremely lively just now, and even attracted countless onlookers, who lined up in front of the entrance to the dungeon, to remain silent. The next moment, although there were still people waiting in line, most people retreated to the far side of the dungeon entrance and watched from a distance. Those who can escape at least have a chance to be rescued. So those teams that didn't come out, you can imagine what happened. Zhuo Qian and Zhang Xian looked extremely sad. They never thought that the originally prosperous situation would suddenly become so dangerous. Ha ha ha, what did I just say? You will die anyway if you go in, so why not make way for us? Wouldn't it be better if it was like this earlier? We have to wait for so long. The bespectacled man from Tianshui College raised his glasses on the bridge of his nose, then crossed his arms and looked as usual. It seems that he has already anticipated the situation in front of him. Later, hundreds of freshmen from Tianshui College who came to participate in the trial all looked happy. Now, no one queues up ahead of them. Everyone, please pay attention. The task of this trial is to survive for 3 hours. The difficulty of the dungeon is A+, so be careful. Take the electronic map I gave you and follow the strategy strictly. Several teachers from Tianshui College began to tell their students what to pay attention to. Instantly, all the professionals around were envious. The difficulty is not D-level at all, it's A+. Too scary. Ah, electronic map, they even have a strategy. Isn't this a limited time dungeon that just appeared? You don't understand this. I heard that many old professional colleges have mastered a lot of dungeon strategies that we don't know. For dungeons like this one that require survival for 3 hours, they may have prepared strategies in advance. Zhuo Qian, who was standing next to Lin Yi, smiled bitterly. It's our incompetence. Not only did they misjudge the difficulty of the dungeon, but they didn't have their so-called strategy. Sorry, Zhang Ya, Lin Yi. The old principal seemed to have aged by dozens of years in an instant. The whole person fell into deep self-blame and guilt. The most fearful thing is comparison. Others are fully prepared, fully reflecting the difference between professional vocational schools and their small base city high schools. Principal Zhuo, there is no need to apologize for something that is beyond your ability. Even without a strategy and an electronic map, this trial should not be difficult. I want to try it. If this trial is really only D-level difficulty, Lin Yi will find it boring. Now seeing so many people fail in it, he is actually a little interested. But, in this situation, no one should be willing to team up with you. Zhuo Qian believes that Lin Yi should be capable. But he said the embarrassing situation now. At this time when everyone is in danger, who is willing to team up with him to enter this dungeon? But at the moment when everyone didn't react, they saw Lin Yi step into the dungeon entrance and his figure disappeared. The copylight curtain rippled slightly. It seems to convey the fact that someone has just entered this copy. Lin Yi. Only then did Zhuo Qian scream. He was so shocked that he broke into a cold sweat. Zhang Ya, who was still immersed in sadness and fear before, became even more confused at this moment. Nonsense. Zhang Xian, who originally had a slight affection for Lin Yi and wanted to cultivate him because Zhang Ya kept mentioning it, scolded him. He never expected this young man who looked extremely calm. How could he be so reckless? Even though he knew it was an extremely difficult A-level trial copy, he still dared to go through it alone. The male professional with glasses from Tianshui College saw Lin Yi's actions. A look of surprise appeared on the face that was originally cold and emotionless. Then he uttered 4 words. It's so stupid. All the leading teachers from Tianshui College looked at each other in confusion. Someone immediately laughed out loud. Seek death. He probably doesn't even know what's going on inside or how to find a real refuge, right? Don't talk about a rookie like him who has just completed his job transfer. Even for us, it is very dangerous to enter a dungeon of this difficulty alone. Leave him alone, he wants to die, and no one can stop him. Without further delay, we don't know how long this dungeon will last. The most important thing is that we quickly let our own people pass the trial. After passing through the dungeon light curtain, Lin Yi received a system prompt. You are entering the special trial copy, City of Dying Light for Akine. Warn. It is detected that you are the only one entering this dungeon. It is recommended to form a team before challenging. Do you still want to enter the copy? Lin Yi instantly chose yes. The next moment, he entered the copy. When he opened his eyes, Lin Yi found that he was in darkness. In the pitch-black night, not a single star could be seen. There was only a crimson blood moon hanging high in the sky. Although the lighting conditions are extremely poor. Moreover, Lin Yi did not have any lighting equipment, nor did he use any ray of light spells such as Fireball. Lin Yi relies on the god-level skill of Omniscient Eye. But he can still see everything around him clearly. Collapsed city walls, rolling rubble, and the outline of the city are vaguely visible. Lin Yi felt as if he had arrived in a medieval castle. It's just a fallen castle. The night wind blew through every corner of the dilapidated city, making a harsh cry. Along with the night wind, there were countless indescribable friction sounds. It seems that there are countless monsters hiding in the darkness, waiting for opportunities. Customs clearance mission released. Please survive 3 hours in Philippine. Current remaining time, 2 hours, 59 minutes and 49 seconds. Please note that all monsters in this copy are immune to physical damage. When receiving light attribute damage, the damage will be increased by 100%. When receiving fire or thunder attribute damage, the damage will be increased by 50%. Lin Yi received a system prompt. No wonder this copy is a mage professional trial. If there were other professions that relied on weapons for a living, they would probably be completely out of business here. Because all monsters are immune to physical damage. Along with the prompts, there is also a warm reminder. Warm reminder. 300 years ago, an ordinary night fell in Philippine, and then the sun never rose again. If you can, please stop your heartbeat and abandon your breathing. They hate noise. Judging from this tip, in the past, this city should have been very prosperous and had its own civilization. But it must have been something he experienced and was shrouded in darkness. At this moment, the entire city should be filled with countless dark monsters. Moreover, these monsters are located through sound hunting. This reminded Lin Yi of a movie he had watched in his previous life on Earth. A Place of Silence. In that movie, everyone tries not to make any noise. Because as long as you make a sound, it will attract extremely terrifying monsters. The copy where Lin Yi is now is even more abnormal. Because let alone the noise made by walking. Even your heartbeat and breathing can be heard by monsters. Jihieji. Lin Yi heard a strange sound. Looking back, he saw several groups of more intense darkness in the darkness, moving quickly towards him. At the same time, the faint moonlight of the blood moon shines. Lin Yi also saw several smiling faces floating in the air. These smiling faces don't look much different from human ones, but in this environment, the smiling faces floating in the air are a bit scary. Dead Light Shadow Demon. Level LV.25. Rank Ordinary. Race Shadow Spirit. HP 8000 8000ths. Mana value 500 500ths. Skill Stealth. Weakness Magic damage. That pitch-black monster that couldn't be seen clearly was originally called the Shadow Demon of Death. And that smiling face floating in the air is called Deadlight and Shadow Nightmare. It has higher health, moves faster, and is also an elite monster. These two monsters were obviously aimed at Lin Yi. They heard Lin Yi's breathing and heartbeat. No wonder Zhang Ya said before that as long as you are in this dungeon, you will be chased by monsters all the time. Lin Yi found it difficult just thinking about it. Because being chased by monsters, whether it is a fight or running away, it will make a sound. This is a very deadly chain reaction, because it will attract more monsters. The people from Tianshui College must have known that there should be a shelter in this city called Philippine that can really avoid the tracking of these monsters. Or they have some way to block the detection of these monsters. From the perspective of normal professional clearance, Avoiding battle is undoubtedly the best idea. But for Lin Yi, he plans to find another way. To deal with darkness, you can't just hide blindly, my friend. Use fire. As long as I kill you all, I don't have to hide or run away. In Lin Yi's hands, a brilliant flame flashed. A scorching breath appeared. The 4th level fire range damage skill, Flame Storm, was used by him. And because it was instant, Lin Yi fired 3 shots at once. The hot fire cloud fell from the sky like a waterfall, bursting with roars. The 5 or 6 shadow monsters that had just surrounded him were all killed by Lin Yi in an instant. Of course, the next second Lin Yi heard more rustling sounds approaching him. Lin Yi raised his hand again. After a short chant, a 6-meter-tall fire demon with lava flowing all over his body was summoned by Lin Yi. The attacking monster was left to his bodyguard. On the other side, Lin Yi opened the skill interface and planned to add points. Lin Yi's goal was the 8th level fire magic. According to the previous rules, it would take a lot of time to add 500,000 points. However, this time, Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised to find that his talent addition seemed to have unlocked something new. One-click point addition. This thing is easy to understand. Just click once and you can instantly enhance the skill you want to add points to the next level. Ding. Consume 500,000 skill points. Your skill Sky Flame Dragon Breath has been upgraded. You have obtained a new spell, Supreme Sublimation, Fire Spirit Incarnation. Lin Yi did not check the effect of this new skill for the time being. Instead, he took a look at how many skill points were needed to upgrade the 8th level skill of Fire Spirit Incarnation to the next level. 9th level Forbidden Spell 8 Desolate Sky Meteorite. Advanced skill points required, 1 million. Hiss. Double it directly, 1 million skill points, too scary. Even for him, without considering Krypton Gold Acceleration, it would take nearly 12 days to get it. But the 9th level is a forbidden spell. The small goal he set before is actually very close. At worst, he will have to wait for 12 days to get 1 million skill points. Then, Lin Yi opened the skill bar. Check the new skills he just got. Supreme Sublimation, Incarnation of Fire Spirit. Type, Active Skill. Level 8. Section, Fire. Consumption, None. Chanting time, Instantaneous. Cooling time, 3 days. Active effect. Your understanding of the fire element has reached perfection. You can choose to merge with the fire element between heaven and earth and enter the state of Fire Spirit Sublimation. Fire Spirit Sublimation. You are immune to all physical damage, immune to all fire attribute damage, and gain the ability to fly. In this state, when you cast a fire skill, the critical hit chance increases by 100%. The critical hit damage increases by 100%, and ignores the target's 50% magic resistance. In this state, when you cast a fire skill, all spells that require chanting become instantaneous and no longer require mana consumption. The sublimation state lasts for 3 minutes. During this period, you can mobilize all fire elements in a large range of space at any time, increase the temperature to 1 million degrees Celsius in a very short time, trigger a terrible explosion, and cause huge fire damage. Note: I am the flame. Originally, when Lin Yi saw the incarnation of the fire spirit, he guessed that this might be a status skill. It has an effect similar to the transformation of Kamen Rider. In fact, Lin Yi's guess was almost right. The description and effect of the 8th level fire skill directly turned into a small essay. After reading it, Lin Yi called it abnormal in his heart. This skill is too buggy. This is actually a relatively rare composite skill. On the one hand, this skill also has damage. In the sublimation state, he can cause a super explosion. And it is estimated that the range and damage of the explosion are more exaggerated than the breath of the Sky Flame Dragon. At the same time, it will also give himself a status. This state can directly allow Lin Yi himself to transform from a human flesh and blood body to a pure fire element life. In this state, all fire spells will explode, increase damage, instant, and no blue consumption. Bad news. This skill is a stitched monster. Good news. All the stitches are stitched. Lin Yi immediately decided to try his hand in this dungeon. Fire Spirit Incarnation, Supreme Sublimation does not require chanting, and there is no mana consumption. Lin Yi just had a thought. He saw a cluster of deep blue flames ignited on his fingertips. The finger characteristics of human beings, nails, bones, and flesh and blood disappeared rapidly. Then, the blue fire spread, and in the blink of an eye, Lin Yi found that his hands began to burn. This experience of transforming from flesh and blood into pure fire elements is very subtle. Not only is there no pain, but it brings Lin Yi a great sense of freshness. Lin Yi's sublimation speed is beyond his imagination. Almost in an instant, Lin Yi felt that he had completed the transformation of life type. He is no longer a carbon-based life, but an elemental life. He has become the flame itself. Lin Yi can still feel his hands and feet, but they can be extended infinitely and stretched at will. And all over his body, he can no longer feel the restraint of gravity. Lin Yi is as light as air. At the same time, the place where Lin Yi was originally standing began to disappear without leaving any trace. It turned out that when the temperature reached a certain level, all the substances in the real world may have skipped the melting step. Instead, they were directly vaporized and annihilated. The countless shadow demons that were attracted by the molten flame demon before were probably too close to Lin Yi. They couldn't even wail. They were instantly evaporated. In the blink of an eye, a vacuum zone of more than 10 meters appeared around Lin Yi. Lin Yi's face and other features disappeared in the blue flame. If someone witnessed this scene in this place, they would probably tremble all over. Lin Yi, who sublimated into the state of fire spirit, is still the size of a normal human. But the sense of oppression is already very terrifying. At the moment when Lin Yi completed the supreme sublimation, the next moment, all the shadow demons and shadow monsters in the entire city of Dead Light, Fei Lai Kane, became anxious. Because the temperature was suddenly rising. Then, Lin Yi flew high into the sky. The flying ability granted by the fire spirit state was no less than that of the wings of Gale, and even faster. Lin Yi flew high into the sky, overlooking the entire Fei Lai Kane. Unexpectedly, the scale and map size of this dungeon were much larger than he expected. The entire Fei Lai Kane was almost 5 or 6 times the size of Zhongcheng base city. And with the help of the Eye of All-Seeing, Lin Yi discovered a detail that other professionals might not know. At this moment, among the countless broken walls and ruins of Fei Lai Kane, there were actually small groups of light. Above these groups of light, the names and levels of the professionals were written. If Lin Yi looked closely, he could get more information. The larger the group of light, the stronger the corresponding professional. Lin Yi saw 2 or 3 larger groups of light gathered together, and there were dozens of smaller groups of light following them. Finally, in the corner to the south of Fei Lai Kane, there was another group of light that was equally large, but it was no longer moving, and it seemed that its aura was gradually fading, as if it was seriously injured. Oh my goodness, it turns out that this copy is a public copy. In other words, all the professionals who entered the copy were actually assigned to various corners of the entire city of passing light, and the chance of encountering them was very small. But it was definitely not impossible. Fei Lai Kane, the central city. There are 50 or 60 people here, fighting against the shadow demon monsters that are coming in groups like a tide. We are only 4 or 5 people away from being all here. I just asked through the sky interrogation. They should have been teleported to a remote place and can't make it for the time being. They will find shelter on their own. Let's hurry to the Central Royal Court. Everyone, keep up, don't fall behind. Several professionals wearing Tianshui College teacher uniforms and with strength reaching the 3rd level killed monsters while instructing other students. Do you feel that it's getting hotter? I also want to say that this place was terribly cold before, but now I sweat a lot after walking a few steps. No, it's too hot, I can't walk anymore. Just a few seconds later, everyone felt that the air they breathed into their lungs was scorching hot. The skin all over their bodies was like being exposed to the scorching sun, and it was burning painfully. Oh my God, look up in the sky. What is that? Chapter 31. Countless people exclaimed. The next moment, they only felt that the surroundings gradually became brighter. And it goes from bright to dazzling in just the blink of an eye. The city of lost light, a place shrouded in darkness for 300 years, at this moment, a blue sun rises. The sun is high in the sky. Every corner of Fei Lai Kane is completely illuminated. The person who just looked at the blue sun in the sky quickly covered his eyes with his hands. Too dazzling. What happened? Isn't this place forever swallowed up by the shadow of the Shadow Demon Lord and never see the light? Countless students from Tianshui College were inexplicably shocked. In fact, all the third-level teachers were shocked when they saw the blue sun in the sky. No, that's not the sun, that seems to be a person. Several stronger teachers endured the stinging in their eyes, stared at the sky, and then came to a conclusion that even shocked themselves. That's not the sun, that's a person. A figure with blue flames burning all over his body. They even saw his scornful, emotionless eyes. Who is that? Is this the final boss of this instance? This is unscientific. Shouldn't the final boss of such a dungeon also be a shadow creature? How could it be such a fire elemental creature? Roar. Ouch, ouch, ouch. The entire Fiskane may be due to the extremely high temperature and the fact that the light shines on everything. The terrifying creature truly dormant beneath this city of lost light was completely angered. The ground began to tremble. Countless students and teachers at Tianshui College can no longer stand firm. It seems like something is about to break out of the ground. Boom. After another earth-shaking loud noise. The earth cracked, and a huge claw covered in darkness as thick as liquid broke out of the earth. The blue fire sun pierces straight into the sky. Puff. The tips of the huge black claws even sprayed out streams of terrifying, highly corrosive venom. However, the venom was evaporated the moment it was sprayed out. At the same time, the sharp claws piercing the sky were burned into black coals by the terrifying flames. The man below fell to the ground, and the professionals who were watching this level of battle were all dumbfounded. The powerful fight is so terrifying. The level of this kind of battle is completely beyond their imagination. The limbs and claws were scorched, which made the giant creature hidden under the Furakine even more furious. This time, an even more violent earthquake occurred, and a terrifying crack opened in the center of the entire Felikine. In the crack, 8 giant scarlet eyes lit up. High in the sky, Lin Yi used his omniscient eyes to completely see what this thing was. Hidden in the dark abyss is a giant spider whose body is also condensed from shadow. This spider is at least 500 to 600 meters in size. Shadow Demon Spider. Level: LV.220. Rank: King level. Race: Shadow Spirit. HP: 24.966 million, 26 million. Mana value: 2 million. Power: 26,200. Spirit: 23,500. Agility: 22,330. Endurance: 29,650. Active skills: Poisonous secondary limbs, Bloodthirsty fangs, Hanging silk shadow binding, Burrowing into the ground. Passive skill: Stealth. Weakness: Light attribute damage. The level of this boss is 20 levels higher than the alienated undead Knight Rivendell. And all the attributes are completely superior to the water-inflated boss of the alienated Necromancer Knight. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible for most professionals to encounter monsters of this level when entering this trial instance. The best shelter marked in the guide issued by Tianshui College to students. In fact, it is the basement of the Royal Court of Furakine. I don't know if it's because of the excellent sound insulation, or for some other reason. Those shadow demon monsters will stay away and will not come here to hunt. But what they don't know is that it is precisely because there is such a terrifying giant shadow creature sealed underground in the royal court that other weak shadow demons dare not approach. Under normal circumstances, as long as you don't seek death and hide in the basement of the royal court, you won't wake up this shadow spider. But Lin Yi's arrival, the high temperature and the dazzling light angered it. That led to the current situation. Kill it and this dungeon should be cleared, right? Lin Yi thought so. He looked at the time left for his ascension state. About a minute and a half to go. About there. Lin Yi stretched out a hand, pointed at the giant demon spider lurking in the abyss below, and shook it lightly. Next moment, boom, all the fire elements in the world were amplified to the extreme by Lin Yi. In an instant, the temperature in the entire city of eternal light soared to 1,000,000 degrees Celsius. Click, crash, an extremely clear sound came from higher in the sky. The deep darkness that enveloped the entire Felikine shattered like an eggshell. The vast expanse of light blue sky outside is revealed. 300 years of darkness. 300 years of closure. The fire of Felicane civilization was completely extinguished, and it became a paradise for monsters. On this day 300 years later, a blue fire sun rose high in the sky. It shattered the darkness and brought light. The darkness completely shattered and dissipated. The whole world was a vast expanse. Countless professionals looked up at the sky, only to feel numb all over, unable to move at all. If it weren't for Lin Yi's intentional control, these people would probably have vaporized and disappeared like other shadow demons. Ah, the terrifying temperature made the shadow demon spider's underground wail endlessly. Lin Yi could see that its blood volume was dropping at a speed visible to the naked eye. The blood volume of tens of millions would return to zero in the blink of an eye. Its remaining 7 claws dug the ground frantically and fled towards the abyss below. However, everything was too late. The temperature had reached the million level. The earth-shaking explosion brought about by the supreme sublimation suddenly erupted. Boom! The dazzling blue light ball spread rapidly like a nuclear bomb explosion, covering the entire Fei Li Ka Yin. Lin Yi was suspended in the sky. He watched the entire city below turn into a sea of fire in an instant. Countless shadow demons were wiped out in the terrible flash. The entire dungeon space was burning with deep blue high-temperature flames everywhere, like purgatory. Finally, the earth was burned by the high temperature to create a huge hole. In the hole, there was nothing but flames. Lin Yi himself was also extremely shocked. The power of the 8th level fire magic was too explosive. This is not comparable to the magic of Sky Flame Dragon Breath. Lin Yi now feels that Sky Flame Dragon Breath is not good enough. Well, this move has no name, and it always feels weird. Lin Yi thought for a moment. He found a situation in his mind that was very similar to the current situation. 6 paths of pain attacked Konoha. With a move of Shinra Tensei, Konoha was razed to the ground and completely destroyed. At that time, it was just like this moment. Lin Yi's mouth curled up a smile. From now on, let's call this move, Divine Fire Heavenly Conquest. Lin Yi flew down from the sky. He ignored the group of Tianshui Academy professionals who had lost their souls or even fainted due to the intense heat and shock. Instead, he flew to the southern corner of the former Fei Li Kane. He picked up a middle-aged man who was exhausted and seriously injured after being besieged by many shadow demons. Lin Yi had no good feelings for the group of people from Tianshui Academy who looked down on others, and naturally he would not be so kind as to save them. He had already shown mercy, and whether they could get out of this dungeon later was none of his business. And the reason why Lin Yi rescued this middle-aged man was because he saw his name with the help of the Eye of All-Seeing. Zhang Chen. With the surname Zhang, and what Zhang Ya said before, it was not difficult for Lin Yi to guess that this person should be the second uncle, who risked his life to give Zhang Ya and others a chance to escape. There was the friendship between Zhang Ya and him, who had given him various props before, and Zhang Xian promised to open a back door for him. Anyway, it was just a matter of convenience, so Lin Yi came to the rescue. Ding! Congratulations, you have completed the trial copy, Fei Li Ka Yin, the City of the Dying Light. You have obtained a new title, Abyss Challenger. You have completed the hidden ending of the trial copy and killed the difficult boss Shadow Spider. Your title has been upgraded. You have obtained a new title, Abyss Conqueror. Special trial copy. The darkness of Fei Li Ka Yin, the City of the Dying Light, has been completely expelled, the city has been completely annihilated, and the structure in the copy has completely disappeared. This special trial copy will be permanently removed from the Blue Star and the Abyss world from now on. Lin Yi was stunned. It was permanently removed. This means that this copy has completely disappeared. It will never appear again. This wave of operations directly destroyed the copy. Maybe because the dungeon no longer existed, Lin Yi was teleported out of the dungeon directly. Lin Yi felt a flash in front of his eyes. When he opened his eyes again, he had returned to the lush grassland outside Zhongcheng. The sun was bright and the wind was gentle, and the scenery was beautiful. It was much more comfortable than the underworld map in the dungeon. He saw the dungeon light screen change. The next moment, Lin Yi appeared holding Zhang Ya's second uncle. All the people guarding the dungeon door were shocked. Because it was less than 3 minutes since Lin Yi entered this trial dungeon. To be precise, it should be more than 2 minutes. How did he come out so quickly? Wait, who is he holding in his hands? Why does he look familiar? Maybe Zhang Chen was too seriously injured, his clothes were torn, and his face was bloody, so for a while, Zhang Xian didn't even recognize his second son. But Zhang Ya screamed, "Second uncle!" At this time, Zhang Xian realized that Lin Yi had rescued someone. In an instant, several people surrounded him. Zhuo Qian was more concerned about whether Lin Yi was injured or not. "Lin Yi, you scared me to death. How could you be so impulsive that you dared to enter the dungeon alone? Are you injured?" "Lin Yi, I'm fine, but I can't say whether he is okay or not." Lin Yi pointed at Zhang Chen, who had been laid flat on the ground by him. Zhang Xian hurried forward to test his breath. Then he showed joy. "He is still breathing, still alive. Pastor, Nanny, come and save him." Zhang Xian was nominally the number one person in Zhongcheng after all, and his orders were more effective than anyone else's. Immediately, many official emergency teams in white coats came to quickly check Zhang Chen's injuries. "Thank you." Zhang Ya cried bitterly when she learned that her second uncle was only seriously injured but not dead. While wiping her tears, she thanked Lin Yi. "It's not easy to hear these two words from you. I haven't heard them in the past 3 years." Seeing her like this, Lin Yi couldn't help but complain. In the past 3 years, Zhang Ya has been a cold school girl. She would never smile at Lin Yi, let alone say thank you. Zhang Ya stamped her feet. She seemed to be somewhat complaining that Lin Yi was still flirting with her in front of her family at this time. After Zhang Xian settled his second son, he also came over to thank Lin Yi. "I originally thought that you were reckless to enter the dungeon, but I didn't expect that you went in to save people. I really don't know how our Zhang family should thank you for saving your life." Lin Yi was stunned. "No, uncle, you may have misunderstood. I just went in to clear the dungeon, and saving people was just a casualty." He must have been lucky. The dungeon map of the city of Passing Light is so large. How could he really refresh next to the wounded as soon as he entered? From the time he entered to the time he came out, it was only 3 minutes. He should have used the dungeon forced escape scroll to teleport out. He was smart. A group of onlookers from Tianshui College. Seeing that Lin Yi actually rescued a wounded person, they were also somewhat shocked. But they were still harsh in their words. As for the fact that Lin Yi actually came out after clearing the level, this situation had never appeared in their minds. Because it was impossible. The requirement for clearing the level was to survive for 3 hours. Coming out early, it meant that the level had failed. Isn't this an obvious truth? As long as you're fine, you'll still have a chance to get the Abyss qualification in the future. Zhuo Qian also comforted Lin Yidao. Lin Yi was speechless. "No, your imagination is too strong." But there is no need for Lin Yi to explain. Because the next moment, an announcement resounded throughout the surrounding areas of the dungeon, leaving everyone present stunned. Dungeon clearance announcement. Congratulations to the professional. Lin Yi has cleared the special trial copy, City of Death Felikine. Time to clear the level. 0 hours, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Customs clearance rating. S. This clearance record refreshes the best clearance record for this dungeon. This record will forever be engraved on Blue Star's Global Dungeon Clearance Record list, which can be retrieved and viewed at any time. Everyone was dumbfounded. Entire copy of the door. In the bustling crowd, no one made a sound. They all looked at Lin Yi like they were looking at monsters. Zhang Xian, a 4th-level magician, had a white beard on his chin that was trembling slightly. Ah, did he clear the level? Lin Yi didn't go in to save people. He really went to clear the dungeon. Zhuo Qian, the principal of No. 2 Middle School, had his brain completely shut down. He could tell that this young man must have something. But I didn't expect there to be such a thing. Really cleared the level. Not only did he clear the level, but he even refreshed the Blue Star Global Clearance Record list for this special trial copy. Record announcements cannot be faked. It can be said that Blue Star's Will of Heaven is supporting Lin Yi to testify. The bespectacled man from Tianshui College who has always been calm, watching everything with cold eyes. This time, he was not calm at all. He took a deep breath. The boy in front of me seemed to be nothing but handsome, an ordinary boy. Why did he suddenly become frightened? As one of the 10 faculty instructors in Tianshui College whose strength has reached rank 6, he naturally has an incomparable understanding of Felikine, the City of Lost Light. This copy is special. Time is limited due to customs clearance conditions. So far, the best record for clearing this dungeon was set by the first person to clear the dungeon more than 130 years ago. The last best record was 3 hours. There are so few recommended tickets and monthly tickets, please give me some. Each of your votes is the motivation for me to code. It can increase the clearance record time that is restricted by the dungeon clearance mechanism from 3 hours to 2 minutes. Wu Jun adjusted his glasses on the bridge of his nose. As wise and calm as he is, he can only think of one situation. That is, the young man in front of him killed all the monsters in the dungeon. The entire copy is completely safe. Naturally, there is no need to test the survival ability of professionals. The condition of limiting survival to 3 hours makes no sense. But as soon as this idea appeared in his mind, it was instantly rejected. Because it's so ridiculous, based on the information he has. This A+ level difficulty dungeon must have a hidden boss that countless professionals have not discovered for more than 100 years. The existence of the hidden boss causes various shadow monsters to continuously appear throughout Felikine. As long as this boss is not eliminated, it will never be possible to clear out all the monsters in Ferakine. As for the activation method of the hidden boss, no one knows yet. But there are many big guys with high perception and identification skills who have surveyed this copy. It was confirmed that the level of the hidden boss is at least level 200 and above, and his status is at least king level. There is a fundamental difference between boss that has reached level 200 itself and those boss that are forcibly upgraded after alienation. Obviously the former is much stronger. Therefore, all strategies for this dungeon are clearly marked for those who have cleared the level. They must be careful and do not seek death, in case certain mechanisms in the dungeon are triggered and the hidden boss awakens. Then the difficulty of the entire copy is not A+ level. But it is a genuine S-class. How did he pass the level? Wu Jun fell into deep suspicion. He even couldn't help but want to grab Lin Yi and ask for clarification. However, at the next moment, the light curtain at the entire entrance to the copy began to tremble violently. The heat wave is coming. Some people even saw several clusters of blue tongues of fire suddenly shooting out from the entrance to the dungeon. Next moment, the entrance to the dungeon was like pouring beans, and it began to spit out the hundreds of people who were still alive in the dungeon. Wu Jun's expression changed drastically. What happened? The student number 780 he just sent in. Plus 4 or 5 teachers who have passed through 3 or 4 positions. How come they all came out? All these students entered a coma. Only a few strong teachers remained conscious to a certain extent after being forcibly transported by the copy. Wu Jun took a few steps forward, grabbed someone by the collar and asked, "What's going on? The customs clearance time hasn't come yet, why are you all coming out?" The teacher he grabbed by the collar. The pupils of his eyes kept shrinking and dilating, and his whole body was shaking. "Fire, fire! There's fire everywhere! No, no, don't burn me to death! Help, help, I don't want to die!" His spirit was clearly broken. Lin Yi looked at this scene and felt a little guilty. After all, he was the instigator. He never expected that a divine fire attack would come down. The entire copy was ruined by him. The scene of hell with fire everywhere can cause such great mental trauma to these adults. The man was yelling like crazy. It also seemed to wake up a group of semi-conscious students. For a time, there were teachers and students from the first department of Tianshui College. They all seemed to have experienced something extremely terrifying, wailing and screaming. The scene was chaotic. The people who had been watching from the outside were shocked. What happened inside? The fire that these people have been constantly emphasizing, and the sun. What exactly is it referring to? Dungeon Adjustment Notice. Attention of all Blue Star professionals, the special trial dungeon, City of Eternal Light Faraka has been completely destroyed due to special reasons. From now on, this dungeon will be permanently removed from the Blue Star Trial dungeon sequence. After that, all professionals will no longer be able to enter this dungeon for strategy, and the dungeon's clearance record list will be moved to the Historical Hall of Fame. This time, it was a dungeon adjustment announcement that resounded throughout Blue Star. Announcements like this happen hundreds of times a year. Basically, the Abyss world has undergone certain changes that are unknown to the Blue Star world. Some copies are permanently lost. But at such a special time today, issuing this announcement can't help but arouse everyone's imagination. Zhuo Qian and Zhang Xian both looked at Lin Yi in surprise. This guy just entered Blue Star's Global Dungeon Hall of Fame. You must know that so far, the names of less than 1,000 people in the entire Blue Star can be engraved on the Hall of Fame list. This is the highest honor for all professionals. At the age of 18, he is in the Global Dungeon Clearance Record Hall of Fame. Being watched by so many eyes, Lin Yi also knew that if he didn't say something, he might not be able to get through today. Well, if I were to say, I didn't do anything. I saw him after I teleported in. Lin Yi pointed at Zhang Chen, and then continued, then I planned to see how he was doing. At this time, a sun suddenly rose in the dark dungeon, and then there was a big explosion. I don't know why nothing happened to me, and then I came out. And they told me that I had cleared the dungeon. Lin Yi had tried his best to lie. If he told the truth, no one present would believe it. But he completely removed himself and blamed it all on the strange events that happened in the dungeon, and everything seemed to make sense. Wu Jun frowned even more. Lin Yi's statement, coupled with the statements of several teachers under him, made him full of doubts. Ignoring the teacher who was still shouting, he stretched out his hand and chopped the back of the man's head with a knife. The next moment, the man fainted on the ground. Wu Jun leaned over, stretched out 2 fingers, and tapped the man's forehead. His profession is a bit special. It is a special transfer of the priest system, the spiritual priest. This profession has a lot of skills that can affect and control the minds of others. Reading a person's short-term memory is even more of a piece of cake. Wu Jun closed his eyes. After a black screen, he experienced the scene in the dungeon again from the first-person perspective of the fainted teacher. After dozens of seconds, Wu Jun opened his eyes. Cold sweat oozed from his forehead and back. He finally understood why these teachers who had been in the dungeon for 3 or 4 years could not bear the mental pressure. Even he was sweating profusely now. Wu Jun looked at Lin Yi again. The scene in the dungeon was almost exactly the same as what the boy described. In an instant, the credibility of what Lin Yi said just now increased by several levels. Maybe he was really lucky and encountered a situation where monsters with a very low probability of appearing in the Abyss dungeon fought each other, which eventually led to the disappearance of the dungeon. In the end, he was the only sober person, so the clearance record was counted on him. Wu Jun glanced at the group of people lying on the ground, bringing shame to their Tianshui College. He was even more angry. Their Tianshui College was a well-known high-level professional college in the top 50 of Daxia. How could they raise such a group of good-for-nothings? If the humanoid creature wrapped in scorching blue flames was really a super powerful existence in the abyss. He was also looking directly at such an existence. Why were these second-turn students and third-turn and fourth-turn teachers under him directly frightened and fainted? But the boy in front of him, he managed to survive. This is enough to show that the boy's mentality should be far beyond his age. Extremely tenacious. From this point of view, this is still a rare good seedling. Come to our Tianshui College. We can give you a special recruitment opportunity. Wu Jun took a few steps forward and came to Lin Yi. In an unquestionable tone, he issued an invitation. For a moment, everyone was stunned, including those teachers who had been following Wu Jun before and had not entered the dungeon, so they were still in a normal state of mind at the moment. Oh my God, special recruitment. No. Does Professor Wu have the qualifications? Yes, after all, he is the head tutor of a branch school, and he has 2 or 3 special recruitment quotas every year. I'm so jealous. I got into Tianshui after ranking 76th in the province. For a while, all the teachers of Tianshui College and those students who had not yet entered the dungeon were extremely envious. They never thought that Professor Wu, who is so strict on weekdays, would actually be interested in a new professional from a level 5 base city. Well, maybe it's because this kid entered the Dungeon Record Hall of Fame at such a young age. What a shit luck. If I had entered the dungeon just now, maybe the record of the final clearance would be counted on me. It was almost the same as these students guessed. On the one hand, Wu Jun did have a fancy for Lin Yi's halo of entering the Dungeon Hall of Fame at the age of 18. On the other hand, it was Lin Yi's character that was appreciated. Zhuo Qian's eyes lit up, and he quietly approached Lin Yi and whispered, "Promise him." Tianshui College is the second best in our province and one of the top 100 universities in the country. Zhang Xian also nodded and said, this kind of special recruitment quota is very rare. Only a few 281 colleges are eligible. Tianshui College is really good, and you can consider agreeing to it. The so-called 281 colleges. It is similar to the 985 and 211 universities in Lin Yi's previous life. It's just a different worldview. Just when everyone thought that Lin Yi would definitely agree. Lin Yi frowned. No need, I'm not interested. This time, even Wu Jun was a little surprised. In his opinion, this was already an unprecedented charity. Why is this kid in front of him so ungrateful? He narrowed his eyes slightly and continued, you have to think it over carefully. This may be your only chance in this life. Lin Yi smiled. He really felt that the group of Tianshui College students in front of him stood out with confidence. You could have left a better impression on me, and maybe I would have considered joining your Tianshui College. This is also your only chance in this life. Zhuo Qian and Zhang Xian were both shocked. Good man, these words are too arrogant. But it's inexplicably relieved. Wu Jun. Still stupid. Let's go. Wu Jun looked at Lin Yi deeply. Then he led the team away. Finally, this special mage professional trial came to an end. Time flies. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. An unexpected event shocked the entire circle of high-level professionals in Dongjiang Province. Tianai City, the capital of Dongjiang Province. In the meeting room of the Professional Alliance. Qi Guogong sat in the first seat. Although he was only a vice president, the president was usually busy with affairs and often had to travel, so he was still in charge of all meetings. At this moment, the meeting room was silent. Everyone was staring at the big screen. The screen was playing. It was recorded from the perspective of an ordinary professional, recording everything that happened in this special dungeon. Felix Kane, the city of lost light. The shadow demon spider, a hidden boss from a high level, was born. Then, the blue fire sun appeared. A humanoid creature with flames all over his body grasped the void. The terrible nuclear explosion and flames instantly killed the demon spider and annihilated the entire Felix Kane, making this dungeon completely disappear from the blue planet. The video was finished. Qi Guogong looked solemn and said, this video was uploaded from Tianshui College in TS City. It should be a memory extraction method, and post-imaging processing. Tell me your opinions. One person said, Vice President Qi, the means by which this unknown flame creature annihilated the entire city, I think the level is at least level 8. Qi Guogong nodded, it must be above level 8. Although it may not reach the level of level 9 forbidden spells, it is very close. Vice President Qi, do you think this fire creature is a professional from our blue star? Is this skill also a high-level skill? Qi Guogong shook his head. This is a very typical fire spell, but it is very different from the 8th level spell of the mage profession. The 8th level fire spell is called the Unextinguishing Flame Curse, although it is very powerful. But compared to the spell used by the mysterious existence in the video, the power is more than 1/3 weaker. And it is absolutely impossible to kill the 220 level abyss spider demon at such a fast speed. This is a power we don't understand at all, and it is also the true posture of fire magic in the hands of the real strong in the abyss world. Qi Guogong's words were full of awe, although he has already turned 7. But the deeper he studies magic, the more he feels that he knows very little about it. For example, the same 8th level, the Unextinguishing Flame Curse and the spell used by this mysterious existence are still too different. After Qi Guogong made a conclusion, instantly, no one else spoke. They are all thinking, if such a being descends from the abyss to the blue planet, what kind of terrible destruction will it cause? He doesn't even need to chant. In the blink of an eye, a giant city is annihilated. Since you all have no other opinions and insights, then I will tell you mine. First of all, it is certain that this creature with blue flames burning all over its body. It comes from the abyss. And its strength is extremely terrifying. In the abyss, a powerful enemy that our human race must face has appeared again. What we have to do now is to continue to report all the information about him. His rank is at least the Emperor rank, so I have temporarily proposed a code name for him. Code name, Abyss Flame Emperor. The threat level, I have initially determined it to be SS level. If there are more eyewitness records and information about him in the future, this threat level may have to be raised further. Agree. No objection. Agree. For a moment, the entire conference room was filled with voices of approval. Qi Guogong saw that most people had voted in favor. He stood up and said, "Then the meeting is over. I will submit the information to the higher-ups." Dismissed. Qi Guogong walked out of the conference room. There was a hint of worry between his eyebrows. What a troubled year. More than 10 days ago, the boss in the wild world of Kanglan City was transformed. He saw a mage who practiced both fire and wind, and whose 7th level skills could be fired 4 times in a row. Now, another Abyss Flame Emperor has emerged from the Abyss, who can use the 8th level spell that he cannot understand with just a flip of his hand. The commonality between the two is very obvious. That is to analyze from the perspective of magic imprints. They are all very young. Much younger than himself. Qi Guogong felt a sense of powerlessness. It was a feeling that he had been immersed in this way all his life. But it was completely incomparable to the powerlessness of a true genius in magic. "Oh, the heavens, how can you be so unkind to me?" At the same time, Zhongcheng, Lin Yi walked out of the treasure pavilion. He walked towards the other end of the life professional street. In the past 10 days, he didn't go out to level up much. The main reason was that the leveling areas and dungeons around Zhongcheng were far below Lin Yi's level. Even if he went to level up, he would get very little experience. Lin Yi didn't want to do this kind of thing with twice the result for half the effort. The big exam was approaching, and other students were leveling up. Only Lin Yi stayed at home for 10 days. It is worth mentioning that the Zhang family seemed to be very grateful to Lin Yi for saving Zhang Chen. The next day, the old man Zhang Xian took Zhang Chen, who had already woken up, to thank him. Lin Yi's parents were shocked. Flattered, Lin Yi got a full 200 freely tradable skill point scrolls and a set of silver-level mage suits. This was a very valuable thank you gift. Lin Yi estimated that he could get dozens of Daxia coins by selling it. This time, Lin Yi came to the treasure pavilion to sell the equipment that the Zhang family gave him, plus the 2 gold level equipment he had on hand, to Zhang Dahai. After seeing the platinum level equipment, Lin Yi felt that the mage suit was meaningless. And the most important thing was, it was ugly to wear. For that little attribute, Lin Yi didn't want to give up his image. So he sold it. Lin Yi walked to a store that specializes in recycling skill books and skill point scrolls. This store was recommended by Zhang Dafu. With his face, all the skill point scrolls in Lin Yi's hands were sold at a price that was about 10% higher than the market price. After clearing this wave of supplies, Lin Yi also received a text message from Daxia Bank. Your bank card with the last number 4396 received a transfer amount of 749,680 yuan, and the balance on the card was 1,293,346 yuan and 21 fen. Lin Yi's current deposit has officially exceeded the million level. As expected, if you want to get rich, you still have to rely on selling goods. Especially the tradable skill point scrolls. This thing seems to have become the super hard currency of the entire Blue Star. It can even be compared with the gold on Earth in Lin Yi's previous life. The price of skill point scrolls on the entire Blue Star is locked, and it is basically impossible to fall, it can only rise. This may be the reason why Lin Yi's good brother Zhang Shan said that his father had several skill point scrolls in his hands. If you save this thing, its value will increase faster than the interest on a fixed deposit. Ding! It is detected that your deposit balance has exceeded the million level, and your talent, the gift of the gods, has unlocked new functions. Lin Yi was shocked. Good guy, a million deposits, unlocked new functions again. Lin Yi opened the talent interface and found the details of the new function. Skill evolution. You can consume 1 million Blue Star currency and corresponding skill points to evolve one of your skills above level 8 into an alienated version of the same level skill, with stronger power and stronger effects. To facilitate the comparison experience, your 8th level fire skill has evolved into an alienated version for free when awakened. When you use this function later, the corresponding currency will be consumed, and the currency consumed will be further increased each time it is used. Lin Yi was stunned. Wow! My talent has really become a Krypton Gold talent. Not only can Krypton Gold speed up the acquisition of skill points, but now you can also evolve skills. Really, Krypton Gold makes you stronger. Are there also alienated versions of skills? My 8th level fire skill, Supreme Sublimation, Fire Spirit Incarnation, is actually different from the 8th level skills of other fire specialized mages. Well, my skill is a stitched monster, a transformation state skill, and has a large range of high damage. It should indeed be much stronger than the ordinary 8th level fire skill. It seems that I really have to put making money on the agenda in the future. Lin Yi opened his personal panel again. Then he looked at his skill point column. Allocated skill points, 974,639. The skill points given away for free every day in the past 10 days have accumulated to nearly 1 million. Lin Yi still hasn't forgotten the small goal he set on the awakening day nearly a month ago. Add Fireball to the forbidden spell. Now, this small goal is within reach. Want to spend some money to speed up. However, Lin Yi opened the Krypton Gold interface. After seeing that it costs 100,000 Daxia coins to exchange for more than 80,000 skill points. Some teeth are sore. This is already more than 1 yuan to buy a few skill points. Although for other people, if they could really spend more than $1 to buy some skill points, they would probably laugh out of their dreams. But Lin Yi has the privilege of getting skill points for free without spending a penny. This creates a psychological gap. No more Krypton. No more Krypton. Otherwise, the millions of Daxia coins in my card would not be enough to make them. Anyway, the difference is more than 30,000 points. It's enough to hang up until night. In the afternoon, Lin Yi went back to school. Mainly because tomorrow is Blue Star Daxia, the annual college entrance examination for new professionals. For all the students who have just transferred to another job and are still childish, this is the real first big turning point in life. Or fish leap over the dragon gate and soar into the sky. Or live a mediocre life. When I returned to school, I was mainly given chicken soup and vaccinations by teachers and principals. Anyway, I just want everyone to not be nervous and just perform normally. In fact, Lin Yi had no interest in participating in this kind of chicken soup party. But Zhang Shan couldn't stand it and kept saying that he wanted to see him. Haven't seen each other for a month. Because the results of the National College Entrance Examination are released on the same day. No need to wait. The college entrance examination will be held on the spot, and the results will be released on the spot. At most, it takes some time to fill in the application form and get admitted to a university. So in most cases, after the college entrance examination is over, everyone goes their separate ways and never returns to high school. Lin Yi agreed. This time the pre-exam chicken soup session didn't last long. It was over in less than half a day. Lin Yi, Zhang Ya, Zhang Shan and a few other classmates who were doing better exchanged blessings and went back to their respective homes. When he got home, Lin Yi discovered that his father did not work overtime today, which was rare. Instead, he took a leave of absence and came back to have dinner with himself. Mother Xu Qingfeng even cooked a large table of delicious dishes. The parents are very happy. But Lin Yi could tell. They are actually more nervous than themselves. Tomorrow is the most important day in a child's life. As a parent, no one can understand that feeling. Eat and drink enough. It was already close to 9 o'clock in the evening. Lin Yi took a bath. Lying in bed. I have to get up early tomorrow, and I have to go to bed early today. But before going to bed, Lin Yi opened his personal panel again. This time, the balance of skill points finally exceeded 7 digits, just like his balance of savings. Available skill points, 1,016,334. Lin Yi opened the skills panel. Choose the fire department. Stay at the interface of the 8th level Supreme Sublimation, Fire Spirit Incarnation skill. Add a bit. Must add some points. Open the point adding interface. The one-click add point button that Lin Yi had seen before also changed from gray to brighter. Lin Yi took a deep breath. The forbidden curse is close at hand. Do you want to spend 1 million skill points to upgrade your skill level to level 9? Yes. Add points with one click and start. The next moment, a pleasant reminder came from Lin Yi's ears. Ding! Spending 1 million skill points, your Supreme Sublimation, the Fire Spirit Incarnation is advanced to The 9th level forbidden curse 8 desolate sky meteors. The moment this reminder sounded, Lin Yi suddenly had a blur in his eyes. All the surrounding scenery disappeared. When he opened his eyes again, he was already in an illusion. This is an apocalyptic vision. Lin Yi was suspended high in the sky. It's like having a god's perspective. Below, there is an endless ocean and an equally vast land. Everything looks normal, until the sky was dyed red with flames. Like it was totally lit too. Countless terrifying and huge meteorites rained down from the universe. The next moment, the hard land was split and shattered by the meteorite fire rain, and in the blink of an eye it turned into a pool of molten red magma. Melt into the ocean, and the originally calm sea. At this moment, it is also heated to boiling, with billowing hot steam evaporating a large amount of water vapor at a speed visible to the naked eye, and spurting into outer space. The next moment, the oceans are drying up. The land melts. Everything seems to have returned to more than 4 billion years ago. The moment when Blue Star was just born. All things return to their original starting point. A piece of molten and hot chaotic matter that doesn't distinguish between you and me. The illusion disappears. Lin Yi returned to reality. Only then did he realize that he was covered in sweat. He couldn't imagine what he was witnessing. That is a great force at the level of creation and destruction. That is, super divine forbidden curse. This term came to his mind. Open the skills interface again. Lin Yikai discovered that it was exactly what he had guessed. The 9th level forbidden curse is not the end. Even, it is far from the end. Lin Yi can already preview the skills he will get after upgrading to the next level. Ancient Forbidden Curse Purifying Hell of Fire. Skill points required for level up, 10 million. Subsequent evolution path. Ancient Forbidden Curse Great Sun Golden Crow. Currency required for evolution, 100 million. Skill points required for evolution, 20 million. Tip: the alienated version of the Ancient Forbidden Curse, the Great Sun Golden Crow, can be further evolved into the Ultimate Forbidden Curse. On top of the Ancient Forbidden Curse, there is also the Ultimate Forbidden Curse. And the Ultimate Forbidden Curse is not the end. It can truly destroy the entire planet and return Blue Star to the Sea of Fire that originated more than 4 billion years ago. It is called the Super God Forbidden Curse. Lin Yi understood that the illusion he saw just now should be the scene of using the Super Divine Forbidden Curse. That is a true world-destroying spell, able to melt continents and boil oceans. It turns out that that is the ultimate in fire magic. Destroy the stars with your hands. Lin Yi took a deep breath to calm down his restless mood. Lin Yi felt that he had already seen what the world's top combat power looked like. Only now did he realize it. Before, I was just a frog in the well. But this made Lin Yi clenched his fists. Isn't this more interesting? Even if the required skill points are needed, it will eventually exceed 100 million. For him, it was just a few years of waiting. He can afford to wait. But at this stage, Lin Yi's next goal is definitely not to upgrade the first forbidden curse he obtained to the Ancient Forbidden Curse. Instead, it's a tiled forbidden curse. At least all of his current magics must be added to the forbidden spell level. Lin Yi looked at the details of the forbidden spell he had just obtained. Forbidden Curse Bawang Tianyan. Type: Active Skills. Level 9. Department: Fire Department. Consumption: 1 million mana. Singing time: 10 minutes. Cooling time: 3 days. Effect: summon wild flames to fall from the sky, ignite all targets within a huge range, and cause huge fire damage to all targets. The ignition effect caused by this skill lasts permanently and cannot be dispelled. This skill ignores all damage reduction and damage immunity effects of the target below level 9. Note: this fire has been burning in the wilderness since ancient times. Hiss. Lin Yi took a breath of air. 10 minutes of chanting. 1 million mana consumption. It can only be said that it is indeed a forbidden spell. The conditions for casting this spell are extremely harsh. Lin Yi was very fortunate that when he added some 8th level fire skills, he got a chance to evolve for free. Because in the sublimated state, all fire spells he uses are instant and cost-free. If Lin Yi can solve the problem of skill cooling time in the future, he can even complete the feat of continuously firing forbidden curses in his sublimated state. In any case, Lin Yi finally got the forbidden spell he had been thinking about. Lin Yi took some time to look at the evolution version of this 9th level forbidden spell. Evolution version. Forbidden spell Buddha's Wrathful Lotus. Currency required for evolution. 2 million Great Sha coins. Skill points required for evolution. 1 million. Lin Yi. No, buddy, why does your skill name sound so familiar? Lin Yi thought about it and said, don't tell me. You really don't tell me. Anyway, we are all playing with fire, and the alien fire is also the embodiment of fire magic after alienation. Forget it, don't think so much, anyway, the forbidden spell is already in hand, go to sleep. ... One night passed. At 5:30 in the morning of the next day, Lin Yi was awakened by a knock on the door before his alarm went off. When he opened the door, he saw his mother Xu Qingfeng with dark circles under her eyes, wearing an apron, calling him to have breakfast. His father Lin Guodong also got up and was hammering with a wrench at the door of his house, repairing the old car that had not been driven for a long time. Today was a big day, and he planned to personally send his son to the station. Otherwise, if he took another car, it would be troublesome if he was late. Lin Yi rubbed his sleepy eyes, there was nothing he could do. It seemed that the couple did not sleep well the whole night. They probably slept for 2 or 3 hours, and got up early to cook for him and repair the car. He could only give up the last half an hour of sleep, washed up, ate a breakfast that was a little more hearty than last night, took his student ID, admission ticket, etc., and got on his father's car. Lin Guodong drove at full speed and headed straight to Zhongcheng Station. Every year, the venue for the National Professional College Entrance Examination is the provincial capital of each province. Dongjiang Province is naturally in the provincial capital Tianai City. In order to standardize the order and discipline of candidates taking the exam, the government will specially arrange a special underground express train every year to pick up candidates from all over the province to the exam site. Arrived at Zhongcheng Station, Lin Yi found that it was already crowded here. The atmosphere in the square was extremely tense. Countless parents sent their children outside the isolation line, and kept saying, "Don't be nervous," and, "It's okay." Of course, his father was no exception. Lin Yi even saw his mother Xu Qingfeng standing behind his father, her eyes were red and she couldn't stop crying. He comforted the two of them. Lin Yi waved his hand and smiled, "Just wait for my good news. Turn on the TV. Maybe you can see me on TV this afternoon." This is not Lin Yi's blind self-confidence. But the forbidden spell in his hand gave him confidence. Even if this exam is difficult, it won't be solved by a forbidden spell, right? After Lin Yi said goodbye to his parents, he searched for a long time but couldn't find the gathering place of his school. This way. As Lin Yi walked, he suddenly heard a familiar loud voice and looked back. He saw the tall and strong Zhang Shan, standing on tiptoe in the crowd in the distance, waving and shouting at him. Lin Yi didn't need to continue looking, he soon came to the large group of Zhongcheng No. 2 middle school. Then the head teachers of each class started speaking again. As usual, a big bowl of chicken soup was served to everyone. More than 10 minutes later, the station broadcast a notice. Please note that all candidates participating in the 3024 National Vocational College Unified Entrance Examination, the special train for sending candidates has arrived at the station. All units participating in the examination are requested to organize candidates and enter the station in an orderly manner. The special train will depart in 30 minutes. All units are requested to organize candidates and enter the station in an orderly manner. Today, all other trains in the entire Zhongcheng morning have been suspended, and only teachers and candidates with work badges can enter the station. So although there are tens of thousands of people taking the college entrance examination in Zhongcheng this year, the entry process is still going smoothly. More than 10 minutes later, Lin Yi and other classmates all got on the special train and sat in the allocated seats. When entering the carriage, Lin Yi found that their class was mixed with a class of Minchang No. 1 middle school, another well-known base city in Dongjiang province. The front half of the carriage was occupied by candidates from Minchang No. 1 middle school, while the back half was occupied by candidates from Class 8 of Zhongcheng No. 2 middle school where Lin Yi was. Although the head teachers of the two classes did not know each other, they were still polite because they could not go to Tianai with the candidates later. So before the train left, they said a few last words. Dear students, I won't say anything else. Finally, I will mention one more thing, which is very important. That is to read and remember the examination rules on the back of your admission ticket. These rules must be followed and cannot be violated at all. We in Daxia are very strict with cheating and violations. Once a violation occurs, the qualification for the examination will be revoked on the spot. If the circumstances are serious, you may even be permanently banned from taking the college entrance examination. After the head teacher finished speaking, a staff member outside the car shouted with a loudspeaker. Please all candidates who are sending candidates to the exam get off the train immediately. The special train will leave in 5 minutes. In the end, there were only 50 or 60 candidates left in the entire carriage. The atmosphere was a little tense, and at this special moment, no one chatted. 5 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi heard a series of bells coming. There was a vibration from under the train. The doors were completely closed, and the train began to slowly speed up. After leaving Zhongcheng Station, a dark tunnel appeared in front of the train, leading directly to the underground. When boarding the train, everyone fastened their seat belts as instructed. After entering the tunnel, the direction of the entire train was very much like a free fall, or the kind of bungee jumping machine that Lin Yi had ridden in his previous life. Anyway, it was both novel and exciting. However, this sense of novelty came and went quickly, because the scenery outside the train window remained unchanged. There were only dim lights and dark walls in the tunnel. Lin Yi chose to close his eyes and rest. He got up too early in the morning and didn't sleep enough. But the students in class 8 sitting next to him, as well as the students of Minchang No. 1 middle school at the front of the carriage, all started talking to each other. Li Shan looked at Lin Yi, who was resting with his eyes closed beside him, and swallowed his saliva. I'm so nervous. Let's chat. What should I do? My brain is blank now. What if I fail the exam later? My dad will skin me alive. Lin Yi was annoyed. He opened his eyes, slapped Zhang Shan on the head, and said angrily, Can you be quiet? You have a loud voice. Aren't you embarrassed? You are nervous about the awakening profession, and now you are nervous about the college entrance examination. How did you change your profession to the night profession? Zhang Shan was scolded by Lin Yi, but he was not angry. Instead, he smiled like a pervert. He was afraid that Lin Yi would pretend to sleep and really ignore him. Zhang Shan lowered his voice and whispered, What level have you reached? I heard from my dad that the specific difficulty of the college entrance examination depends on the level you take the college entrance examination. The more difficult the exam is, the higher the score you can get, and the more you can stand out in the college entrance examination. Lin Yi looked up at Zhang Shan and said helplessly, You have asked me so many times since you got on the car. I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid of hitting your self-confidence. Zhang Shan, hey, you look down on others, right? Anyway, I also spent a lot of time leveling up during the days when you were emo. Although I feel that if you level up seriously in the future, you will definitely surpass me, but you will definitely not surpass me by too much. As he said this, Zhang Shan actually threw a basic identification spell at Lin Yi. Then he screamed, Failed to identify. You are not already level 20, right? Zhang Shan's level at the moment is 15. Generally, conventional identification spells can get information as long as they are within level 5. However, this time, Zhang Shan's identification spell failed. This means that Lin Yi's level is at least 5 levels higher than his. Although Zhang Shan lowered his voice before, but this weird cry directly attracted the curious eyes of countless other people in the carriage. The students in class 8 all showed surprised expressions on their faces. Lin Yi has reached level 20. It's unlikely. That idiot Zhang Shan said that. He must have made a mistake. No, Zhang Shan is already level 15. His identification failed, which only means that Lin Yi is 5 levels higher than him. That's too abnormal. I'm only level 14. I'm only level 13. Or level 12 hopeless. By the way, what level is the school beauty Zhang Ya? I heard she's level 19. When she returned to school to get her admission ticket a few days ago, the teacher praised her. So it seems that she's been suppressed by Lin Yi again. Ahem, what do you mean by suppressed? She feels a bit miserable. On the day of awakening, I thought she finally beat Lin Yi once. Now it seems that she's lost again in terms of level. Lin Yi, the big devil, is still as arrogant as before. Zhang Ya listened to the discussions of her classmates. She felt much calmer, because Lin Yi had already been inducted into the Hall of Fame of the Global Dungeon ranking. Except for her, the other students present didn't know anything about it. Compared with this supreme honor, what's the point of having a higher level than her? But at this moment, the heated discussion of Class 8 actually attracted the ridicule of the students of Minchang No. 1 middle school in the front half of the carriage. Is this the backward education level of the level 5 base city? So funny, you have the nerve to show off at level 20. Lin Yi looked in the direction of the voice. All the students from Minchang No. 1 middle school were now lying on their seats, looking back at the students from Class 8 of Zhongcheng No. 2 middle school like monkeys. Under the influence of the omniscient eye, Lin Yi could see the levels of these people clearly. Most of them were level 20. A small number reached level 21. Some of the more powerful ones had even reached level 23. Lin Yi suddenly remembered the knowledge points he had learned in the humanities and geography class in Daxia. Looking at the entire Daxia, Dongjiang province is considered to be one of the top provinces in the country in terms of education and economy. Tianai, Lishui, and Ziling are all second-level base cities. However, the distribution of education and economy in Dongjiang province is extremely uneven. The resource-rich and education-rich areas are basically concentrated in the second and third-level base cities. The facilities and education levels of the remaining fourth-level base cities began to vary. When it comes to the fifth-level base cities with a high degree of marginalization like Zhongcheng, it is even more miserable. This is why Lin Yi found that his classmates were at least level 12. And the lowest level of these candidates from the third-level base city Minchang was 19. In terms of average level, Lin Yi put himself in their perspective and felt strange when he saw the people sitting in the back of the car being shocked by the 20th level. Hearing the ridicule of these candidates from Minchang No. 1 middle school. Instantly, everyone in Class 8 of Zhongcheng No. 2 middle school was silent. It can't be said that they were inferior, but the gap in hard power made them feel a little embarrassed. The most embarrassing one, of course, was Zhang Shan. The cause of everything was that he made a fuss. Seeing the students in Class 8 kept silent, Minchang No. 1 middle school became even worse. The nearest student said with a grin, "Hey, Zhongcheng country bumpkins, I'm also level 20, am I a big shot in your place? Would you like to kneel down and lick my ass? Ha ha ha. What the hell are you? I'm level 21, come and lick me. Ha ha." Zhang Shan's face turned red by these people. He was furious. He wanted to rush up and have a real PK with this group of people. But Lin Yi put a hand on his shoulder and shook his head. "We are under surveillance now. Have you forgotten what the teacher said? Pay attention to discipline. If you really make trouble here, you will be disqualified from the exam." Lin Yi didn't care about the ridicule of these people. In his opinion, it was like a group of wildcats boasting about their superb hunting skills in front of a tiger. They were not at the same level at all, and Lin Yi didn't even feel angry. There was no response to the application for interaction. Gradually, these people lost interest. They all returned to their respective circles and talked about their own things. The 3-hour special train journey passed quickly. When the train arrived at the station, Lin Yi opened his sleepy eyes and stretched. In the second half of the 3 hours, perhaps because his classmates were silent and even Zhang Shan was red, he slept well. After getting off the train, the shuttle buses for taking the exam were already parked outside the station. According to the number and order, Lin Yi and the people from Class 8 got on the shuttle bus, headed straight to the examination room. Along the way, Lin Yi found that Tianai City, the capital of Dongjiang Province, was indeed extremely prosperous. After traveling to this world where the territory of Blue Star has expanded dozens or hundreds of times, Lin Yi has not yet left Zhongcheng. The farthest he has been is Kanglin City next to Zhongcheng. But Zhongcheng and Kanglin are both level 5 base cities and quasi-level 4 base cities, respectively, with little difference. It can be said that they are brothers in distress. Came to Tianai, Lin Yi realized that the construction of the prosperous cities in Daxia in this world was not inferior to that of Beijing, Shanghai and Guangzhou in the previous life. In fact, it was even better. The infrastructure was very complete, and the urban greening was also very good. However, correspondingly, whether it was the scale of high-end residential buildings or the corresponding housing prices, they were all frighteningly high. Along the way, the relevant departments of Tianai City that maintained traffic and roads gave the shuttle bus a green light all the way. In order to welcome the students from the entire Dongjiang province who came to take the National College Entrance Examination, the entire Tianai City opened a total of 22 examination halls. With so many examination halls diverted, when the shuttle bus that picked up Lin Yi arrived at the examination hall, he still saw an extremely spectacular scene. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but Lin Yi's examination site happened to be Examination Hall No. 1. After countless shuttle buses stopped at the parking lot, all the candidates got off the bus and lined up in order. When they came to the large square outside the gate of Examination Hall No. 1, they could see that the entire square was crowded with people. This time, there were no people sending the candidates, only candidates. In just one examination room, the number of candidates is estimated to be 40,000 to 50,000. Lin Yi's batch of shuttle buses arrived. The candidates in examination room 1 are basically in place. Outside the examination room, a notice was sounded. Attention, candidates. The 3024 National Professional Higher Education Institutions Unified Entrance Examination is about to begin. This examination room is the first examination room in Dongjiang Province. Please line up and pass through the first smart gate outside the examination room in turn. After passing the gate, the sensor above the gate will automatically screen your profession and level and mark them. This exam will provide corresponding difficulty options according to the corresponding level range of each candidate. The higher the difficulty, the higher the score you can get after passing each round of tests. Candidates with a level range of 1 to 15 will be marked with white and can only choose simple difficulty. Candidates with a level range of 16 to 20 will be marked with green and can choose simple or normal difficulty. Candidates with a level range of 21 to 23 will be marked with blue and can choose normal or difficult difficulty. Candidates with a level range of 24 to 25 will be marked with purple and can choose normal, difficult, and extremely difficult difficulty. Candidates above level 25 will be marked with gold and can choose normal, difficult, extremely difficult, and nightmare difficulty. It seems that the exam details revealed to Zhang Shan by his father before were not wrong. Sure enough, the difficulty range will be divided to screen candidates in advance. If your level is not high enough, you can't choose a higher difficulty. Naturally, you can't get more points. So in this exam, your ranking will naturally be lower than those who choose a high difficulty and pass the test. What a role! No wonder when the profession was awakened before, the teachers and the media were all excited. In this environment where everyone is crazy about rolling inward, if you don't work hard, you will fall far behind others. As the admission procedure progressed, a large number of candidates lined up and passed through the gate. Lin Yi also saw the candidates from Class 8 walking in front of him. For example, Zhang Shan, the Iron Fool. After passing through the gate, above his head, the words, "Send to the place of examination," were written, which was Zhangcheng, followed by an icon of a war hammer and a white star mark. Afterwards, all candidates who got the white mark like him would be diverted to the corresponding examination entrance by the assistant senior officials in the examination room. After so many years of college entrance examinations, this procedure is too smart and natural. If it is manual screening, I don't know how long it will take. Tisk tisk, it's really white and green, haha. A burst of laughter came. Lin Yi saw the group of students from Minchang No. 1 middle school again. At this moment, they passed the gate. Most people have blue stars on their heads. The few with purple stars looked at Zhang Shan and others as if they were animals. Lin Yi looked at the gate in front of him, a smile on his face. It's time to give the tens of thousands of people in this examination room a little gold shock. The students of Class 8 of Zhangcheng No. 1 middle school felt even more inferior. Not only because of the ridicule from the students of Minchang No. 1 middle school, but more because they passed through the gate together with the candidates from other base cities. Others at least had green labels. They had white labels on their heads. Although the real exam has not officially started yet, this gate mechanism has directly allowed countless people to see the disparity in the world. They have seen the gap between themselves and others. Lin Yi sighed a little. It's too real. Although the original intention of this design is to facilitate the screening of candidates and give them a reasonable difficulty range to choose from. But this thing really messes with the mentality. Soon, Lin Yi came to the gate. He stepped through the gate. The next moment, Lin Yi also found that a staff icon slowly appeared above his head. The icon of the knight profession is a warhammer, and the warrior is an iron sword. The mage is naturally a staff. But the icon is not the point at all. The point is the star icon that appears with the profession icon. The moment the golden star appeared, the whole examination room burst into exclamations. Gold, which big guy has a golden star on his head? Ah, my titanium dog eyes are going blind. Is this the golden legend? It's so beautiful. I worship the big guy. Countless people exclaimed, plus the number of people who walked into the gate of the entire examination room was countless. Among the blue and green star marks, the appearance of several purple star marks was extremely eye-catching, not to mention the golden star marks. In an instant, Lin Yi received a lot of attention. This naturally included his classmates in Class 8. All the candidates in Class 8 of Zhongcheng No. 1 Middle School were dumbfounded. Lin Yi is a gold star. Nima, he's not level 20, he should be green, or at most blue. Nonsense, this can only mean that Zhang Shan still misjudged the level of the great demon Lin. Gold star, this is too awesome. I feel like I'm just here to make up the numbers. How come the gap between people is bigger than that between people and dogs? Zhang Shan's face, which was originally completely red, was now completely stunned, and then fell into ecstasy. If he hadn't been diverted to the entrance queue of the White Star, he would have rushed over to give Lin Yi a bear hug. He was very happy. He knew that his brother would never be an ordinary person who did nothing. But he didn't expect that Lin Yi still gave him a huge surprise. In the other green star queue, Zhang Ya looked at the gold star on Lin Yi's head. She smiled with relief. Yes, she was completely relieved. She was even happy for Lin Yi's current achievements. Moreover, she also knew that from now on, she and Lin Yi would be from two different worlds. As for those examinees from Minchang No. 1 Middle School who had just laughed at her, now they were speechless and stunned. They looked at the golden star on Lin Yi's head, and they were all like poultry with their necks pinched, unable to breathe. Then they remembered the laughter they had made in the car and after getting off the car. Instantly, she felt that she was the clown. He was much higher than her. But he was very low-key in the car, closing his eyes and resting, and had no intention of arguing with her. Now it seems that they are not worthy. Then the next moment, all the people from Minchang Middle School were completely blushing. They lowered their heads, hoping to be drowned in the crowd and not be discovered by Lin Yi. Hello, classmate, please follow me. The female examiner who received Lin Yi. Maybe it was because of Lin Yi's handsome appearance or the golden star on his head. Lin Yi found that the other examiners were fierce, but this female examiner was unusually polite to him. Following the examiner all the way forward, Lin Yi soon saw a gate of the examination room with entrance number 1 written on it. There were already more than 20 people standing in front of the entrance. Student, please register your exact level and professional expertise at entrance number 1, and then choose the difficulty. The female examiner gave Lin Yi a warm smile and gave the final guidance. Then she left. Lin Yi walked slowly towards the gate of entrance number 1. At the same time, he also saw entrance number 2 and entrance number 3 next door. There were a lot of people at those entrances. Directly exceeded 1,000 people. The marks on the heads of these people were all purple marks. It is conceivable how many people would be in front of the entrances of candidates with white, green and blue marks. On the contrary, there were only more than 20 people in front of entrance number 1 where he was about to line up to enter. After approaching, Lin Yi was not surprised to find that the star marks on the heads of these people were golden, just like himself. Well, these people should be the so-called geniuses, cultivated by the top schools and top families in the top base cities in Dongjiang. There are 22 examination halls in Tianai. If there are more than 20 gold standard students in each examination hall, then in the whole Dongjiang, there are only about 400 people who have awakened and taken the college entrance examination this year, and are above level 25. Compared with the more than 100,000 candidates in Dongjiang, This is already a very small number standing at the top of the pyramid. When Lin Yi gradually approached, the men and women who were waiting outside the gate of entrance number 1 also found the arrival of new faces. Zhongcheng is taking the exam. No, what the hell is this place? Why haven't you heard of it? It seems to be a remote-based city in our province. No, is there something wrong with the gate? Can a gold standard be produced in a place where birds don't poop? Obviously these so-called geniuses, even if they are not particularly familiar with each other, have met each other to some extent. But Lin Yi had never seen it before. Hello, this candidate, please come and register. An examiner wearing a proctor uniform with a very serious face said to Lin Yi. Lin Yi glanced at the others. Obviously, with only more than 20 people, the registration at entrance number 1 was a quick one. These people should have already registered. Lin Yi stepped forward. The examiner waved, and a screen of spiritual crystal projection light instantly appeared in front of Lin Yi. Just as Lin Yi was about to reach out and touch the spirit crystal and enter his own information, he heard an exaggerated voice coming from behind him. Hey, brother, it's not easy to reach level 25. I'll give you a warm suggestion, don't choose nightmare difficulty, you will be tortured by the monsters inside and cry. Lin Yi turned back slightly. The person who spoke was a boy with yellow hair who thought he was handsome. Huang Mao coaxed, and the other candidates beside him laughed in a low voice. Brother Kai, there is also a gap between the gold standard and the gold standard. Not everyone can reach level 29 like you, haha. Huang Mao felt secretly happy. What he cared more about was the opinion of a stunningly beautiful girl standing next to him. But when he turned to look at the girl, he saw a trace of disgust in her eyes. The girl's red lips parted slightly. Zhao Kai, you don't need to use this method to attract my attention. Like a bucket of cold water being poured down on their heads, Zhao Kai and the younger brother beside him shut up instantly. At the same time, the girl turned her attention to Lin Yi. The next moment, her eyes narrowed and disbelief appeared on her face. Because she suddenly saw the moment Lin Yi's hand touched the spiritual crystal. Above the light curtain, a level number jumped out. 42. At this moment, everyone in entrance number 1 was dumbfounded. The person who just said that there is a gap between the gold label and the gold label has his brain shut down. He's right, there is also a gap between so-called geniuses. And this gap, like a natural chasm. Zhao Kai looked at Lin Yi's level 42 on the light screen, and instantly felt an invisible slap on his face. The beating hurt him raw. He thought that someone like Lin Yi who came from a remote-based city to take the exam would be considered a gold medal winner. The most it can reach is level 25. Because he is only level 29, and this level is already extremely high when looking at the entire Dongzhong Genius Circle. Among the people present, he only lost to the girl in blue next to him. The girl's name is Lan Rui, her level has reached level 30, and she has even accepted the job transfer mission but has not yet completed it. And the boy in front of me, who seemed to be nothing but handsome, actually had level 42. This means, he has completed the second transfer mission and even gained 12 more levels. Not to mention the experience points required to upgrade after the second turn. After level 20 alone, the experience points required for each level up are extremely terrifying. After awakening the profession, there is only 30 days of leveling time. Reaching level 30 is almost the ultimate limit. Today, this limit has been broken. And once broken, there is a gap of 12 levels. Lan Rui stared at Lin Yi, wondering how Lin Yi did this. If someone really interviews Lin Yi live, Lin Yi would say that this is not just about having hands. Because in the past month, except for the day after a week of failure, he really had no intention of leveling up at other times. Most of the time, he just kept messing around. Even the 3 upgrades from level 39 to level 42 were the result of Lin Yi getting itchy out of boredom, so he went to Kenglin City next door, found a copy, and played through it several times. If he really wanted to level up and become more powerful, he might have reached level 3 by now. Teacher, why can't I choose the difficulty level? Lin Yi operated the light screen. He originally wanted to choose Nightmare in the difficulty selection. But he found that he couldn't choose, as if there was a bug. Was reminded by Lin Yi. The examiner, who had looked serious just now and pretended not to let strangers in, started to tremble. wait a moment, let me take a look. He began to operate the spiritual crystal system. To be honest, he couldn't believe that the young man in front of him was level 42. Has he changed his mind? Where did the evildoer come from? After one operation, the examiner in charge of registration was already sweating profusely. Because he found that the system was completely fine. Lin Yi's level is also genuine. The reason why Lin Yi couldn't choose the difficulty is because since the birth of this system, the underlying code has restricted the difficulty level for professionals to be within the range of 25 to 30. To put it simply, Lin Yi, a level 42 evildoer, had already been burned into the candidate's entry system. What the hell? Something happened. What to do? Well, I must be undecided about this matter, so I can only report it. Lin, classmate Lin, please wait here for a moment. We have never encountered a situation like yours. I want to ask the leader for instructions. Then, the examiner, who had been extremely serious just now, immediately ran into the entrance like flying. Examination room number 1, 3rd floor. This is the examination center for the National College Entrance Examination and the entire Dongjiang Province. It is also where the chief examiner and all Dongjiang Province senior officials involved in the examination-related work gather. That's almost it. That's it. The exam will start soon. Please inform everyone to get back to their places. After a brief meeting, a middle-aged man sitting at the main seat packed up the documents on the table and gave instructions to the others. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Come in. The door opened, and a face that was a little red from running fast appeared in front of a group of big guys from Dongjiang Province. Sun Liang, what's wrong with you? Aren't you registering candidates? You're so reckless. Who told you to knock on the door? The middle-aged man sitting in the main seat has not spoken yet. The person next to him was obviously the superior named examiner Sun Liang, so he became angry and immediately reprimanded. Sun Liang was also a little aggrieved. I really don't blame him for this. And he had to report it immediately. There are now less than 20 minutes left before the exam starts. If something goes wrong, or the exam is delayed, he can't afford this. He immediately said, Xiao. Director Xiao, I have important things to report. Sun Liang's superior, Director Xiao, wanted to reprimand him a few words. But he was interrupted by a middle-aged man sitting in the main seat. If anything happens, just tell me. Sun Liang saluted the middle-aged man, and then said anxiously, Deputy Director Li, it's like this. Just now, a candidate appeared at the entrance number 1 where I was responsible for registration. When entering the information, the spiritual crystal system showed that his level had reached level 42 and he had completed his second job transfer. I have repeatedly confirmed that there is no failure in our system, but the problem now is that our system has never entered the information of candidates above level 30. Now that candidate cannot choose the difficulty level of the exam. I can't decide on this matter, so I'm here to ask for your instructions. As soon as these words came out, the entire conference room of the examination center was filled with excitement. Everyone was stunned. Even Li Yuanjing, the deputy director of Dongjiang Education Bureau, raised his eyebrows. Level 42. How can this be? Someone immediately raised questions. Fortunately, Sun Liang knew the trick of reporting information to the leader very well. In his previous words, he said that he had confirmed that there was no problem with the system. The implication is that Lin Yi's level is absolutely true. Interesting. Yuan Jing, when you asked me to watch this time, did you expect in advance that this kind of evil genius who has never been seen in a century will appear? An old man who was also sitting in the main seat and had been silent until now joked with a smile. Mr. Qi, please stop making fun of me. I don't have the ability to predict the future. Li Yuanjing shook his head. Sitting next to him was Qi Guogong, the vice president of Tianai City Professionals Alliance. The two are good friends, and this time Li Yuanjing invited him to observe. Qi Guogong hasn't been too busy recently, so he took the time to come over and take a look. He didn't expect to see it as a surprise. Li Yuanjing waved to Sun Liang, and then said, what about the candidate's information? You can show it. Hey, right now, Sun Liang responded. He quickly walked to the big screen and used the spiritual crystal communication watch on his wrist to put the file information that Lin Yi had entered into the system onto the big screen in the center. The next moment, Lin Yi's handsome face appeared. Qi Guogong was startled. Why is it him? Li Yuanjing was also a little surprised. Mr. Qi knows him. Is he a genius from a certain family? Li Shui Lin family. I haven't heard of anyone named Lin Yi in this generation. Qi Guogong shook his head. No, I just met this guy once when I was rushing to help the blue alienated boss crisis, but it should be a coincidence. His profession is also a mage. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.